subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Synopsis. Ye Fei traveled to the world of Cyberpunk 2077 and became a wanderer like V. When doing tasks with V and Jack, Ye Fei found that he seemed to have obtained a Superman's body of steel. Ye Fei is the strongest hacker I have ever seen. Lucy Ye Fei? Oh, he is the real legend of Night City. Jack Ye Fei, you can't beat me without modification. Adam hammered. Who said the legends of Night City have to die? I am the living legend. Ye Fei standing in front of you is the legendary Ye Fei, the terminator of Huangban Tower and the unmodified prosthetic body. Chapter 1, The Narcissistic Sheriff. Good morning. Night Cities. A familiar voice came from the radio, and Ye Fei, who was sleeping soundly in the car, frowned and opened his eyes slightly and glanced at the radio impatiently. Damn, I can't sleep well. Then Ye Fei seemed to feel something was wrong and sat up all of a sudden. This is... where? Ye Fei remembered that he fell asleep comfortably after killing Adam's heavy hammer dozens of times. Why did he wake up in a car? Ye Fei opened the car door and saw a completely impossible scene where the two were discussing. The electrical coupling module of your car is broken and needs to be replaced. The repairman fiddled with it for a while, then stood up and glanced at the woman with long silver hair who was standing beside him as a homeless person. Of course, the eyes are not honest. In fact, women are considered a rare species in this small town. After all, beautiful women live in Night City. Looking at the familiar homeless clothes on his body and the silver-haired woman who was arguing with the repairman in front of him, all this tells Ye Fei one thing. He crossed. Human life is still worthless. Oh no, it is the world of Cyberpunk 2077 where the life of the poor is worthless and the life of the rich is like a treasure. No way, big brother. Even if I play a little more Cyberpunk games, I can still time travel. Ye Fei admits that although he likes to play this game, and after watching the latest anime Edgerunner, he logged into the game overnight and killed Adam Heavy Hammer more than a dozen times. But this does not mean that he will do well in this world. You must know that in this world, there is no money and no background. You're just a small guy, and it is normal to be famous today and die tomorrow. You can't be mistaken, are you? Feeling the reckless gaze of the repairman, there was a trace of disgust in V's eyes, but now he could only suppress the disgust and asked in disbelief. Hee, I don't care if you can find another repairman. It's just that there are two homeless wandering around the border. I don't think anyone will be willing to help you. The repairman said slowly, implying that the money given by Ye Fei and V was not enough. Stop talking too much. Just give me the tools, and I'll fix it myself. Ye Fei stood in front of V at this time, blocking the repairman's impolite sight, and said, Ye Fei, who has played this plot countless times, knows how to temporarily fix this Viper, as long as it lasts until it reaches Night City. This mission was enough for him and V to rent an apartment in the city first. Then you can try it. Of course, if it breaks down, it will cost you a lot to repair. The repairman didn't say anything in half of what he said, implying that Ye Fei couldn't do it. Stop talking nonsense. Get out of the way. Ye Fei pushed the repairman away. Ye Fei pulled out a line next to the engine and said while operating, bypass the coupling, and then pull out a line to start the ignition. Boy, you do have a few tricks, but if you repair it like this, the compressor will keep running, and it's uncertain how long it will last. The repairman rubbed his chin with one hand and said in surprise, That's none of your business. Seeing that Ye Fei repaired the Viper, V said a little unhappy when he heard the repairman's words. I'll find out when I start the engine first. As V spoke, he walked to the driver's seat and started the car. Hey. After making a few noises, the car didn't lose face like in the game, but started directly. Hey, it's really good, but I still can't hold on to that sentence for long. The repairman said sourly, He doesn't need to last long as he can last until Night City. V didn't want to talk too much with the mechanic, so he got into the car and picked up the radio to start connection. As in the game, the radio has no signal at all here. Maybe we could go to the signal tower and try it. It should work. Ye Fei said to V, Okay. V responded to Ye Fei and was ready to start the car. Swish! At this time, the shutter door was opened by a man who looked like a policeman. Seeing this person, Ye Fei has black lines all over his face. The sheriff, at the beginning of the homeless, especially narcissistic, has been bragging about himself. Hey, Mike, you have 2 guests here. Why didn't I know? The sheriff asked the repairman with an arrogant face, and then walked to the front of the car and put 1 foot on the front of the car. Hee, Sheriff, I thought the 2 of them had already greeted you. And besides, they haven't been here for long. The repairman laughed and said he originally wanted to repair the car casually and earn some extra money. There is no need to report to the sheriff. Otherwise, he would take away the commission that should not exist. The sheriff didn't care about the repairman's reason. He turned his head and saw V sitting in the driver's seat. His eyes lit up immediately, and then he returned to normal. Ahem, don't worry about Mike. I just want to see what's going on here. It's just a matter. There is something else we will discuss later. After speaking, he walked to the side of the car door and began to look at V sitting in the driver's seat. To be honest, he has long been tired of seeing the women in this small town, and he would have left long ago if he hadn't had no way to transfer to Night City. Now that such a beautiful woman came to the town, he didn't know it. Miss, don't you know you have to say hello to the sheriff when you're in town? Tell the sheriff what you're here for, even if it's just for a cup of coffee. V doesn't want to talk nonsense with this sulky sheriff now, but she knows that if she doesn't deal with it, both she and Ye Fei will be in trouble, even if it's not a big trouble for the 2 of them. Sorry, we didn't know about it, and our car broke down and we just wanted to get it fixed and leave. Yes, you homeless come to town with either this problem or that problem, but you just don't want to come and say hello to the sheriff. So have you heard of Andrew Jones? I think you should have, the sheriff said to V and Ye Fei with a see-through expression. Sorry, I didn't. The Andrew Jones nicknamed Silver Shotgun, who participated in the Special Forces in the last corporate war. Ye Fei wanted to smile, but he knew that it would be obviously unwise to offend the sheriff now. So he interrupted V's words aloud. Hearing Ye Fei's words, the expression on the sheriff's face was obviously much more comfortable. Unexpectedly, there was someone among the homeless who had heard of his name, and the police chief looked at Ye Fei with softer eyes for a while. That's right, boy. You understand well, but I still don't like 2 homeless wandering around my town. Where's your family's camp? Which family is it? Although the sheriff was flattered by Ye Fei, he continued to speak. There are no clansmen, no camp, just the 2 of us. V said in a cold voice with no expression on his face. Chapter 2, Can I Become Stronger by Basking in the Sun? I wouldn't believe it. You homeless people just hug each other. The sheriff shook his head. He wouldn't believe V's words. If what V just said was about a family he didn't know, then he would detain V. As for Ye Fei, wasn't that the lone homeless who attacked the town, killed by him? It's just that now V didn't say which family he belonged to. He wasn't sure if he could provoke it or not. Our family has been disbanded, and now we are planning to go to Night City. V shook his head without too much explanation. Oh, to Night City? Just you 2 hardworking couples? The policeman sneered. This matter has nothing to do with you. V no longer wants to chat with the sheriff anymore, glanced at the time, remembered his commission, and asked the sheriff. The antenna on our car is broken. I saw a signal tower on the road. I want to use that signal tower to contact others. The sheriff withdrew his hand, raised the belt around his waist, and threatened. You can use it if you want. I just need you 2 to get out of the town quickly. Don't talk nonsense with me, and don't stay in the town shaking around. Now, do you understand? V also didn't want to talk nonsense with him, and after closing the car door, he said to Ye Fei, I don't want to cause trouble, and you don't need to. Ye Fei, get in the car. Let's go. After Ye Fei got into the car, V started the car and drove the car out of the town. After reaching the signal tower and getting in touch with Jack, he drove towards where he was. Looking at the familiar scenes around and the heat wave that is too real to be real, my mind is absorbing the memory of this body. The body's name is also Ye Fei, and the parents are homeless living in this area, and V's parents are from the same family. A few days ago, the head of the family disbanded because of the failure of the mission, and Ye Fei's parents and V's parents had passed away before. In the cyberpunk world, this is normal, and the average life expectancy is not more than 30 years old. After probably digesting the body's information, Ye Fei looked at V, who was driving in the driver's seat again. She has long silver hair, blue eyes, and although her skin is not so fair, it is obviously because she is a homeless person who does not have good living conditions, but she still looks beautiful. Well, it was the face he pinched out. Ye Fei, why did you say you knew the sheriff just now? We obviously don't know him. V, if I didn't give that sheriff some face just now, we might not be able to get out of that town. It's okay to pander to that idiot's vanity a little bit. Listening to Ye Fei's words, V also sighed. To be honest, if the family hadn't disbanded, she wouldn't have contacted the middleman she knew to take Ye Fei to Night City. After all, in the desert, a homeless person without a family is really worse than a pig or a dog. You're right. We won't have a family after Ye Fei. We can only rely on the two of us. Of course, Ye Fei knew that if the family hadn't been disbanded and annexed, V would not have left the family's own files. But when I think of the time I traveled through, I can't help but feel a little pity. Alas, my wife Lucy and Erica, I'm late. To be honest, if he hadn't watched that anime and played games like crazy, he might not have been able to travel to the world of Cyberpunk. It's just that when thinking about these things, Ye Fei felt something was wrong again. Company V probably didn't develop a prosthetic body that can be strengthened by exposure to the sun, right? Ye Fei stretched out his hand and put it outside the car window, and he could obviously feel a stream of warmth flowing into his body. Ye Fei, you didn't watch Haikiming being invaded by a virus 2 days ago, did you? How could there be a prosthetic body that can be strengthened by exposure to the sun? When V heard Ye Fei's words, he stretched out his small hand and put it on Ye Fei's head, as if he wanted to see if Ye Fei had the virus. Ahem, just treat me as if I was invaded by a virus. Ye Fei blushed when he felt the temperature of that little hand. He was a solo mother in his previous life and never even touched a girl's hand. Ha ha ha, why? Are you shy? Are you still shy after we know each other so well? Seeing Ye Fei's reaction, V showed a hint of surprise on her pretty face and then said jokingly, "What's the point of being shy? It's just being invaded by the virus of Haikiming." Ye Fei said with some embarrassment, and then stretched out his hand out of the car window, and his heart was full of turmoil. The two arrived at Jack's location after arguing. Well, here are the coordinates McCoy gave us. V confirmed the coordinates again, nodded to Ye Fei, and said. When Ye Fei walked into the room, he saw the familiar man sitting on the sofa, a man with a fleshy face and a grumpy look. "If you don't come again, I will be so poor that I will have to farm." "The two of you should be V and Ye Fei, right?" Jack said, looking at V and Ye Fei with his love gun. Looking at Jack's familiar and funny bald head, Ye Fei suppressed a smile and replied, "Yes, V and I are your contacts this time. You should be Jack Wilson, right?" Diazamo, God, the middleman didn't tell me that V is such a beautiful lady. Jack glanced at V and said something different from the game. After all, this is not a game. This has nothing to do with you. I heard that you have some goods that you need help to take away for you. V didn't give a good look when he heard Jack's words. She had seen a lot of attractive men who were looking for V, and as time went by, V became a little annoying except for the men that Ye Fei thought. Chaka, sister, is in our Valentino gang. Before we talk about business, we have to have a heart-to-heart talk and get to know each other. This can be regarded as tradition to tradition. Jack saw V's expression and knew that he seemed to be the partner who offended this time, scratched his head, and explained. He doesn't want to wait for the next person who is willing to take the order here in this desert. Otherwise, he can only farm here. Okay, then you'd better talk about some rules later. V said a little speechlessly. Hey, people always have the courage to break the rules, Hermano, brother. Don't you think so? Jack said with a silly smile. Ah, yes. Anyway, we are partnering with you on this mission. Ye Fei replied with a smile. In the game, he felt that the role of Jack was very full. With his optimism, humor, intelligence, and wit, he seemed very happy to work with him. Haha, I like your words, hermano, brother. I must have a drink with you after this mission is over. Chapter 3, turn out to be a man of steel? Okay, you should show us the goods you're going to deliver this time, right? Seeing the seemingly harmonious chat between the two of them, V felt a little speechless. She felt that her younger brother, who had lived together for more than 10 years, felt a little strange to him. Jack patted the box in his hand when he heard V's words. Here, this is what we are going to deliver this time. What's in it? V asked curiously. If we don't know, maybe we can sleep well. Anyway, our task is to deliver this thing to the customer. I don't care about the rest. I advise you to stop asking. Jack shrugged to express his disinterest. You don't even know what it is. Dare to give it away? These things were stolen from the company. V glanced at the logo on the box and said with some dissatisfaction, Steal? Don't say it so badly. It's just that a fool accidentally threw it here and was picked up by another fool. I don't know how many people got here. Jack didn't care. Anyway, he was only in charge of delivering the goods. Is there really no one looking for this thing? V asked in disbelief. Come on, we'll all be enjoying life in Night City by the time they find this place, won't we? After listening to Jack's words, V lowered his head, then gritted his teeth and said, Okay, load the things into the car and let's go. Support the bold and starve the timid to death. If you're timid about doing everything in this world, it means that you are not suitable to survive in this world. Isn't that right? I thought you were going to let me go, Jack said and moved the box to the trunk of the car. Zenema, expletive, is quite heavy. Jack put the box away and patted the dust on his clothes cursingly. Something happened on the way here. Ye Fei explained to Jack what just happened. Well, I have to say that V looks really good, but that sheriff is obviously bragging. I've never heard of any silver shotgun. Jack agreed with the sheriff's vision. If he hadn't been on a mission and he met a pretty girl like V in Night City, he would definitely have struck up a conversation. Don't talk so much. I feel like I'm done when I'm done. After V finished speaking, he sat in the driver's seat. Just as Jack was about to sit in the co-pilot, V gave Jack a hard look. Jack smiled shyly and sat in the back seat knowingly. Seeing this scene, Ye Fei felt a little happy. What's the relationship between you two? Feeling bored on the road, Jack asked Ye Fei, who was sitting in the passenger seat. It's siblings, V said without turning her head, but looking at her rosy cheeks, she knew it was not as simple as she said. Ye Fei didn't reply to Jack's words and still stretched out his hands outside to bask in the sun. The feeling of energy entering his body made Ye Fei feel very comfortable. He was basically sure now, although he didn't have the standard system for a traverser, but it seemed that God had given him something even scarier. Superman's Man of Steel. Why do you think so? Because Ye Fei felt that his strength was constantly increasing from the moment he first came into contact with the sun. He can also clearly feel more things. For example, although the skin on his body has not been verified, he can feel that his skin seems to be getting harder and harder, and his senses are constantly receiving more information. Could it be that the old man wanted him to become a legend without a prosthetic body? Ye Fei couldn't figure it out, but he didn't want to think about it anymore. After all, if his golden finger is really a Superman's steel body, then he can only be said to be a real god in this world. What about Araba Group, military technology, and biomanufacturing? They're all just ants. My friends, listen, you're all professionals, right? You should have run through this kind of smuggling line, right? Jack asked a little awkwardly. Obviously, it was the first time he ran this kind of order. Haven't you ever done this job? He was still very cold. Me? Who does Chica look down on? I've done everything. Well, this is my first time doing smuggling. Jack swallowed when he saw Ye Fei's half-smile expression halfway through his speech. The truth came out. V didn't say anything when she heard this. She was already on her way to work, and she didn't care that Jack hadn't done it anyway. Already able to see the checkpoint getting closer and closer on the horizon, I remembered what to do next. The sun went down, and only a little residual light shone on the desert. V was still driving the car expressionlessly. Although she turned on the radio, she still had no mood to listen to music. Jack, the middleman should have a cargo list for this mission, right? Ye Fei asked Jack. Of course, I'll give it to you now. Jack took out the bill of lading and handed it to Ye Fei. Great, it's not easy this time. What's wrong? Is there something wrong with this cargo list? Jack became a little nervous when he heard Ye Fei's words. Look here, it says LOA, which means that our goods will be lost as long as they cross the border. Then what? Isn't that telling them we're smuggling? There's nothing to do. Just give the guards money. Speaking of which, Jack, the middleman should have given you enough money, right? Ye Fei imitated V and looked at Jack with a blank expression on his face. Of course I did. I forgot to tell you before. Jack resentfully took out the card that the middleman gave him. Yes, you forgot. X2, both V and Ye Fei rolled their eyes, knowing that it was the first time their partners could cheat as much as possible. Anyway, Jack took over the job himself. It's just that some things are rules for them wanderers, which is very important. Ye Fei, you can talk about it when you get to the checkpoint later. The car opened the mirror to the checkpoint, and several guards at the checkpoint also surrounded them, and the roadblocks were also put down. Please drive your vehicle to the inspection area. The unquestionable voice of the guard sounded. V also drove into the checkpoint honestly. Why do I feel a little ominous? Jack said, fidgeting. Stay calm. They will see something wrong with this. V gave Jack a hard look. Okay, no hay problema. No problem. No hay problema. Jack responded, but it didn't look okay from the way he looked. Jack was still praying that the guards finished scanning the vehicle. Everyone on the vehicle in the inspection area is required to make further inquiries. What should we do now? Jack panicked when he heard what the guard said. Don't worry. It's all normal. Just leave it to me. Seeing Jack's nervous expression, Ye Fei couldn't help laughing. Fortunately, I found you to work together. Ye Fei's words immediately let Jack breathe a sigh of relief. Chapter 4. Angry Ye Fei. With a manifest and chips, Ye Fei walked into the building next to the checkpoint. Looking at the guard with live ammunition, Ye Fei shook his head. Although he has a superhuman body of steel, he doesn't want to bet that he can't hold up to the bullets now. After all, there will definitely be guys at the checkpoint who are not much weaker than the terrorist mobile team. But for that guy who wants to cheat after taking money, Ye Fei will never let him have such a non-existence. The door in front of it opened automatically when Ye Fei came to him. Ye Fei looked at the layout inside, and it looked pretty much the same as in the game. The difference was that there were a few more interrogation rooms. Please hand in your weapons here. The guard standing at the door said to Ye Fei in a cold tone, pointing to the window next to him. Hearing this, Ye Fei took out the pistol from his waist and handed it in. The guard standing aside saw the posture of holding the rifle in Ye Fei's hand when he took out the gun, and they all felt ready to go. It's not the guard's fault. After all, he just saw a homeless man break into the cart a few days ago and gave his senior a brain hole. He breathed a sigh of relief after seeing his colleagues put away Ye Fei's gun. Please go to interrogation room number 2 for questioning. Ye Fei took a look and found interrogation room number 2, opened the door, and walked in. The guy Ye Fei was very familiar with sat at his seat and glanced at Ye Fei. Your documents. The guard glanced at Ye Fei and found that he didn't wear any signs about the homeless family, and he felt a little thoughtful. Should it be just a normal inspection? Resisting the mood of punching this guy, Ye Fei handed him the cargo list. Maybe, but we still have to see what you sent. The guard couldn't deny it and glanced at the words on the cargo list. When he saw the LOA, he knew that he had earned something again. What are you transporting? I don't know. The goods are all written on it. Ye Fei said hypocritically. Seeing that Ye Fei was a bit out of touch, the guard was not in a hurry to take out a cigarette and light it. If you have any questions, you can ask them, and I will help you solve them. Hearing Ye Fei's words, the guard only took a look at him, with a look on his face that you understand. Oh, I forgot. There's an additional item to be added to the cargo list. Ye Fei took out the chip and put on the table. The guard glanced at it, and then put the cargo list on top of the chip. Which homeless family do you belong to? Saul or Viper? The guard asked in a somewhat arrogant tone. Ye Fei knew that he was looking into their details, and if he said directly like V that there was no family, they would be hunted down in a short while. Well, we are Soul's people, Ye Fei said with a normal face. Damn it, it's a hard stubble, forget it. The guard didn't doubt it when he heard Ye Fei say that he was from the Saul family. After all, it was normal for him to be smuggled without a family symbol. Okay, let's go. The roadblocks outside have been lowered. Looking at the smiling face of the guard, it seemed that he had never shown that arrogant look just now. Ye Fei didn't care so much and walked out of the room, took his gun back from the counter, and returned to the car. Hee, these little bastards still think that Night City is paradise. What do you care about these scumbags? The guys from outside are just naive. Didn't you see how good-looking that girl in the car is? The guard's whispered words entered Ye Fei's ears verbatim. Ye Fei didn't care anyway. Anyone who entered Night City could become a legend. It's just that what he didn't notice was that a guard seemed to be sending some message with glowing eyes. How is it? Are you okay? V asked with some concern after Ye Fei got into the car. Well, everything has been taken care of. There shouldn't be any major problems this time. Ye Fei felt that the guard should not dare to cheat. After all, Soul's family is relatively united among the homeless. Why? I always have an ominous premonition. Jack said something that surprised Ye Fei. Oh, you don't always have this hunch, do you? After passing the inspection, V's mood naturally improved, and his emotions were not so tense. What are you talking about, V? How could I often feel this way? Don't worry about so many verses. We just keep driving. Ye Fei doesn't care so much anyway. If there's an accident at that time, he will just solve the accident. V and Ye Fei were talking about each other, but the cheerful Jack found about 10 cars coming from another road. I'm going. It's a member of the Tiger Claw gang. Jack's face suddenly became a little surprised when he saw the logo on the opponent's car. Ye Fei's face was full of black lines. He had already warned the guard, but he didn't expect him to dare to do such black and white things. Immediately, Ye Fei's eyes showed a trace of killing intent, and the veins in his clenched fist bulged, and he had to admit that he was a little angry. Don't think too much. Maybe they're just passing by. Just as V wanted to comfort Ye Fei, members of the Tiger Claw gang, who were only tens of meters away from them, had already started shooting at them. Leave the stuff. You bastards. The members of the Tiger Claw gang shouted loudly and started shooting wildly at Ye Fei's car. FKU. Ye Fei cursed and took out his pistol, stretched half of his body out of the window, and started shooting at the Tiger Claw gang members. Not to be outdone, Jack took out his favorite gun and started shooting at the Tiger Claws. Compared with Jack's method of suppressing firepower, Ye Fei's burst shots can often be shot one at a time. After all, this is not a game. I'll go. Ye Fei, your shots are really accurate. Seeing that a member of the Tiger Claw gang died with one shot from Ye Fei, Jack shouted in admiration. Ye Fei felt that as long as he focused on the Tiger Claw gang members opposite him, it would be like being slowed down. For him, it was as easy as hitting an immovable target. Not long after Ye Fei shot and killed the driver again, the remaining cars of the Tiger Claw gang began to flee in panic. They swear they've never seen a shooter so accurate in their lives. Hermano, brother, your marksmanship is so good. Are you interested in working with me as a partner? After V stopped at the gate of motel, Jack got out of the car and stopped Ye Fei's shoulder with one hand and said, V is also very curious. He clearly remembers that Ye Fei's marksmanship is at most similar to hers. He was able to shoot every member of the Tiger Claw gang just now, which made V feel that Ye Fei, whom he had known for more than 10 years, was a little strange. Chapter 5, a gadget worth 200,000. So you plan to go to town tomorrow and let us make do with this motel today? Ye Fei twitched his mouth as he looked at the dilapidated motel in front of him. Look, the middleman is not ready when we bring the goods to the city at this point. It's better to go in when the city guards close tomorrow morning. This place where I live, Hermano, brother, I'm a little cash-strapped. That's the only way to go. Ye Fei said helplessly. Jack finally opened 2 rooms, and Ye Fei originally planned to sleep in the same room with Jack, but V dragged Ye Fei into the room when Jack opened the room. Sister and brother? Jack watched Ye Fei being dragged into the room by V with an understanding expression on his face. The motel room was messy and even dirty, with darkened blood on the floor and walls, some used tissues, and empty drinks on the floor. The relief was at least the bed was clean. Okay, at least it looks a lot cleaner. While Ye Fei was still looking at the room, V's pretty face appeared in front of him, and it was very close. What's wrong? What's the matter with V? Ye Fei blushed involuntarily and turned away. Ye Fei, are you hiding something from me? A look of worry appeared on V's face. After all, after his parents passed away, V and Ye Fei had to do some small jobs in the family to get by. After all, the purpose of the homeless family is to get as much as you can. The two of them used to do a little bit of mess cleaning in the family, and V knew a little about guns. Ye Fei had only touched a gun before, but when he fought the Tiger Claw gang tonight, Ye Fei's marksmanship, which can be called a sharpshooter, was not something that a person who only touched a gun could do. V, do you still remember that I asked you about that prosthetic body today? Ye Fei doesn't intend to hide from V that he can become stronger by exposure to the sun, although it sounds nonsense. But his subconscious tells him that V will believe in him no matter what. You mean on the way to find Jack today, you asked me if I have a prosthetic body that can be strengthened by exposure to the sun? Don't talk nonsense. Even if there is such a prosthetic body, it is not for ordinary people like us to use. V listened. Ye Fei immediately thought of what happened today, and then asked in a surprised tone, "Could it be that you?" Ye Fei nodded, and then he disappeared in front of V in an instant. When V reacted, Ye Fei was already behind V. "You? How did you do it?" V looked around and saw Ye Fei behind him and said in surprise. Ye Fei didn't speak, but walked to the bed and lifted the whole bed with one hand. Seeing this scene, V completely believed what Ye Fei said, that he could become stronger by exposing himself to the sun. She grew up with Ye Fei, who only carried out the most basic chip socket installation and system implantation since childhood. The hands and feet are so original that they can no longer be original, and Ye Fei can now lift the bed that looks at least 400 kilograms with one hand. I only found out about V today. Ye Fei put the bed on the floor as he spoke. V was happy at first, and then a little anxious, and said, "Ye Fei, you are wearing original clothes, but you have such terrifying power, you must not reveal it in front of the company dogs, or you may be arrested and studied." V's idea is very simple. If the company finds out that Ye Fei has the ability to become stronger by absorbing the sun, why not slice him into slices of Lanzhou beef for research? Therefore, Ye Fei must not show his superhuman strength in front of others at will. This Superman is not that Superman. Don't worry, V. I have a sense of proportion. Ye Fei nodded to show that he understood. Knock, knock, knock. Ooh. V looked at the knocked door with some vigilance. "It's me, Jack. I have something I want to discuss with you." Jack shouted outside the door. "Come in." After Ye Fei finished speaking, Jack carried the box into the room. Seeing Ye Fei and V put the box on the ground without changing their clothes. "Damn, this box is still so heavy." Jack cursed, then stood up and said, "Didn't bother you?" "No. What are you looking for us to discuss?" V shook his head and said with some doubts, "Hey, I originally thought that I would dump you too as soon as I crossed the border, but today Ye Fei's marksmanship and ability to handle affairs gave me some new ideas. Are you interested?" Jack didn't hide either. He believed that neither Ye Fei nor V was the kind of person who would suggest such a thing. "You are honest. Tell me what you think." "Hey, what I mean is, why don't we see what's in this box? Let's hack this thing," Jack said with a sly smile on his honest face. "Black, are you afraid that your middleman will trouble you?" V asked in surprise when he heard Jack's words. You must know that every middleman in Night City has a large network of connections. If the mercenaries want to make a living in Night City, they must not offend these middlemen. It is one thing if they can't find a job. If the middleman gets angry and offers them a reward, it will be a big deal. Don't worry, I have just contacted the middleman priest of our Valentino gang, and he is very interested in this item in my hand. Jack said confidently, he is not a brainless person. I have no objection at all. Open the box, if that's what you're going to do. Ye Fei shrugged. To be honest, when he was sure that he had superhuman strength, he didn't care who offended anyone. Even if his body does not have the terrifying power of DC comic Superman, as long as he is as fierce as in the movie, he will be fearless in this world. DC Superman is afraid that kryptonite has nothing to do with his cyberpunk Superman. Even Ye Fei is afraid of kryptonite, but where do these people in cyberpunk go to find kryptonite? Okay, I agree. Open the box and see what's inside. Seeing that Ye Fei agrees, V naturally has no opinion. Bark. The moment the box was opened, the low temperature inside reacted with the outside temperature to release some gas. And then Jack and V saw a creature they only saw in magazines or TV shows. Dios God. Iguana. Still red. Jack held the sleeping lizard in both hands, his eyes full of surprise. Ye Fei was also surprised when he saw this scene. After all, the American green iguana in the game was an ordinary green iguana, but here it turned into a rare red iguana. Is this thing worth money? V asked, rubbing his chin. Nonsense. This thing is worth at least this amount in Night City. Jack stretched out 2 fingers and said mysteriously, 20,000? 20,000 is not bad. Seeing Jack's appearance, V said what she thought was a sky-high price. In fact, this is not to blame for V. After all, the highest reward they get for working together with a homeless family is 50,000 euros. The family leader has to share 20,000 euros, and the remaining 30,000 euros can be obtained by other members of their family. Of 20,000? To be honest, this little thing like V is worth at least 200,000. Chapter 6 Night 200,000? Just this thing. V was shocked and frightened by the number Jack said. Of course, the big shots in Night City like to keep these pets, and this mutated and rare species is even more rare. Jack looked at the big guy in his hands with surprises in his eyes. He also raised a small shark before, but later he couldn't afford it because the cost was too high. This kind of green iguana is basically extinct in the cyberpunk world, and it is not easy to find a living one. And the red mutant in their hands is like winning the lottery. However, we only have 100,000 euros at most in our hands. After all, the priest has to deal with our middleman and find a buyer. Jack was excited for a while and then said a little depressed, "Come on, how many commissions do we have to accept for 100,000 euros to earn? Please be satisfied, Jack." V saw that Jack said that although the middleman would take away 100,000, she still felt that it was not a loss. After all, if they finished the order honestly, they would get at most 20,000 euros. In Night City, rent a house at most and buy a second-hand car that is a bit broken and it will be gone. As for the Red Viper driven by V, under the attack of the Tiger Claw gang, they were almost smashed into a sieve. That's right. How about it? V, Ye Fei tomorrow. I'll take you two together to find the priest. Then we'll share the money there. After finishing speaking, Jack left the room. When the door was closed, Jack looked at Ye Fei with a smirk and raised his eyebrows. Seeing Jack's lifelike appearance, Ye Fei knew that Jack really regarded himself as his own, and when Jack was unfamiliar with people, he was full of arrogance. "Oh, I've been running around all day. Ye Fei, I'm going to take a shower first." After V finished speaking, he walked into the bathroom. After Ye Fei waited for V to walk into the bathroom, he collapsed on the bed, feeling the first bed he lay on after coming to this world. Ye Fei still felt unbelievable. Clenching his fists, Ye Fei could feel the terrifying power inside. For some reason, it was as if he was born with it. Ye Fei knows how to control his power precisely without getting used to it. V, I will definitely let us have a good life in Night City. Thinking of this, Ye Fei began to close his eyes slowly. To be honest, although he was not physically tired at all, everything he experienced today made his mind reach its limit. Ye Fei, it's up to you. V blushed and came out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel and was about to see Ye Fei's reaction, but saw Ye Fei lying on the bed already snoring lightly. "Brat, you don't know how to cover yourself with a quilt when you sleep." V cursed and walked to the side of the bed, quietly pinching the other side of the quilt that was not pressed down by Ye Fei to cover him. Then he looked at Ye Fei softly, as if he was remembering something. Then V didn't know when she fell asleep, but only remembered that she was leaning on Ye Fei's back. "Early in the morning, huh? I fell asleep." Ye Fei opened his eyes in a daze, staring blankly at the ceiling of the motel. Suddenly, he felt that his arm seemed to be clamped by something. And when he turned his head, it turned out that V was sleeping soundly holding his arm. Ye Fei didn't dare to pull out. After all, V only had a bath towel on his body. If he pulled out his hand, he might lose it all. And if V knew about it, he might beat him up. It took about another hour before Ye Fei felt the unavoidable trembling of the person next to him, and he closed his eyes wisely and pretended to fall asleep. He didn't open his eyes until the feeling of reluctance disappeared, and the sound of the bathroom door closing sounded again. Ye Fei felt the lingering warmth on his arm, smiled, and his desire to protect V became stronger. Click! The door of the bathroom opened, and, after changing his clothes, V walked out from the inside and said to Ye Fei nonchalantly, "Ye Fei, you fell asleep without taking a shower last night, and you have to go to see that priest in a while. Why don't you go wash first?" "Wash? Huh? Oh good, I'm going to take a shower now soon." Ye Fei breathed a sigh of relief when he heard V's words, then grabbed his backpack and rushed into the bathroom. Crash, clatter. Ye Fei, who was taking a shower in the bathroom, looked at the mirror. The man in the mirror was full of tendons, but it didn't look so ugly, but very well proportioned. Ye Fei nodded. This is the figure he likes. Although he did exercise a lot in his previous life, he was just a guy with plenty of physical strength. When Ye Fei came out of the shower, Jack was already sitting on the sofa in their room. Yo, hermano, brother, you're finally out? I've been waiting for you for a few minutes. Well, I was so tired yesterday that I fell asleep and didn't take a bath at all. After Ye Fei finished speaking, he didn't know why Jack looked at him more, so to speak. I understand everything. Yes, you should have been very busy yesterday. It's okay. Now we can go to see the priest. After Jack finished speaking, V didn't notice anything wrong with what he said, but Ye Fei, an old driver, understood it in seconds. But looking at V's appearance, Ye Fei didn't bother to expose him. So he gave him a supercilious look and the group went downstairs. Chapter 7 Order? Rich man's toy. Will this car last as far as Night City? I don't know. Anyway, I think it should be fine. Ahem. Damn. This broken car was scrapped just after it arrived here. What AFG waste. Jack coughed and got out of the car that was emitting black smoke. Ye Fei and V also had black lines on their faces. They thought that driving slower would make the car last longer, but it was scrapped as soon as they reached the edge of the city. Seeing that there were not many cars passing by Jack, he was a little furious. Stop talking. Let's find a car to use now. Ye Fei knew that it was useless to get angry here. It would only waste their time. After listening to Ye Fei's words, Jack glanced at him and found that Ye Fei was very calm and immediately felt that he had found the right partner. His temper is quite explosive, and he lacks someone who can calm down and persuade him at critical moments. It is not easy for Night City to find a reliable and smart partner. Maybe this person who calls you brothers and sisters today will sell you tomorrow. Which area are we in? Hearing Ye Fei's question, Jack quickly called up the map, glanced at it, and gave an answer. Desafortunado, bad luck. We are in Santo Domingo. This is not good news. This is a gang formed by a group of veterans. The reason they formed it at the beginning was to ensure the safety of people in the scenic area. But this group guys are just gangsters like those Tiger Claw guys. Jack sneered and said that he was obviously very disdainful of the 6th Street Gang, which is obviously an ordinary gang, but the reason for its formation is very good. Ye Fei thought about it for a while and soon found information about the 6th Street Gang in his mind. This may be because, as a Superman, his super brain has also started to function and recall the past. The 6th Street Gang is a gang with about 2,300 members. This group of veterans has a strong desire for protection in their territory, but they will not easily cross the border to cause trouble in other gang areas. The threat level is rated as medium in the game, and the 6th Street Gang will often force small companies in their area to pay them protection fees in the name of respecting them. Ye Fei felt that if they walked through this area, it would be slower to reach Haywood, but it would be better than going to the territory of the Tiger Claws they beat off yesterday. Although those who came to rob them yesterday were all young men from the Tiger Claw Gang, he didn't think it was an accident that several of them were robbed. Ding! Just when Ye Fei was still thinking about countermeasures, Jack's eyes turned red. What caught his eyes was the middleman he sent him this time for this task. TCH, is real mentative still really difficult? Hello? Yes, I'm Jack. Jack! According to the agreement, you should have delivered to me an hour ago. Why haven't you come yet? Toby Jies is very upset now. He has been fidgeting since yesterday. After all, he knows how important the gadget that Jack Wells transported this time is. In order to get this product, he did not hesitate to spend 50,000 euros to let the company employee who leaked the secret to him intentionally lose this damned red lizard. And he also used the last 10,000 euros to help Jack Wells with the border police. He was just a small middleman. Don't want top middlemen like Tanaka, Priest, and Captain to sell tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, so they can only pick up some commissions that these big shots don't like. It's just that he was the one who initiated the commission this time. After all, the lizard worth 200,000 euros was a stepping stone that could take him to the next level. I'm sorry, Toby, we were robbed by the Tiger Claws when we crossed the border last night. Otherwise, you can go with them. I have to hang up here beforehand. After Jack finished speaking, he didn't care about Toby Jies' reaction and immediately hung up the phone. FK. Jack Wells. You wait for me. Toby Jies is almost penniless now. He has only one loyal younger brother under his command, and the others are all mercenaries with an eye for money. And most of the people he knew were low-level mercenaries. Want to snatch them back? Totally impossible. Even a more loyal younger brother only became his younger brother because of his rich people. Otherwise, he would have run away long ago. No way, Night City is like this. Hee hee. You still want to threaten me? A guy who is strong on the outside and doing things on the inside. Jack sneered. He also probably knew a little bit about Toby Jies. Otherwise, he wouldn't dare to take advantage of others casually. Big man, I didn't expect you to look very honest, but you would still cheat? V patted Jack on the shoulder and said in surprise, even if you were a beggar on the road in Night City, you can't take it lightly. Jack is not annoyed. After all, living in Night City and eating gangsters and other illegal and immoral things are his main theme. As for order, if the matter is not too big, or if it affects the rich, NCPD will not care too much. Chapter 8, Lucy and the Cybermaniac. So Ye Fei, your plan is for us to take the public light rail to Haywood? Jack said a little speechlessly. To be honest, he thought Ye Fei would come up with some grandiose plan to pass through Santo Domingo, but it turned out to take the ubiquitous public light rail to Haywood. Have you watched Hey Chow too much? I think the most convenient thing is to take the public light rail. Why don't you spend some money and call a Delaman taxi to take us to Haywood? I think that's safer. Ye Fei gave Jack a blank look. Jack, this guy just doesn't like to use his brain, and he will fight the light rail in Night City at every turn, and there will be no security scanning system. It is the safest place to sit. Unless you encounter a cyber lunatic, and then NCPD comes to solve it and is taken away for inspection. Otherwise, it is so easy to encounter NCPD. Oh, okay. Jack, you should also learn from Ye Fei to use your brain. Otherwise, won't it hold us back when we go on missions together? V said jokingly, I just don't like to use my brain, so I asked you to be my partner, didn't I? Jack smiled silly. The few people just chatted one after another, completely oblivious to the whispering of the guy standing in the corner with his back to everyone in their carriage. Destroy, kill, destroy, kill. Ye Fei looked around for a while. At this moment, he saw a person he never dreamed he would see, with short white hair and a hot figure. It looked so suitable with that outfit. Lucy, Ye Fei muttered to himself. He was completely dumbfounded now. Why? Shouldn't Lucy be in a retired state now? How could he be so familiar with stealing the company dog's chip on the light rail? Kill. While Ye Fei was still processing the information in his brain, the man in their compartment who was muttering in the corner suddenly yelled. The prosthetic body in his hand seemed to be out of control, and a machine gun barrel suddenly protruded from his hand and began to shoot. Danger! Ye Fei, V, and the nervous Jack immediately dodged the bullets. But Lucy, who was stealing chips just now, didn't react for a while. Ye Fei rushed to Lucy at a speed invisible to the naked eye and threw her down. As soon as Lucy heard the warning, she had already seen the muzzle of the cyber lunatic sweeping toward her. She thought she couldn't escape this time, and could only see where the gun would knock down. You can wait for an opportunity to escape if you don't hit the vital point. But if you hit the vital point, you can only be appointed. Just when Lucy was accepting her fate, she suddenly felt a flash of sight and found that a man dressed as a homeless man threw herself to the ground in front of her. What? No, don't. I don't want to die. The cyber lunatic looked crazy and was still not satisfied after shooting for a week, so he started shooting at the passenger closest to him. FG stupid cyber lunatic. Ye Fei is a crow mouth. I would rather grab a car on the road and drive to Haywood. Jack scolded fiercely, but the hand holding the box in his hand became tighter. He didn't expect that the first time he encountered a cyber madman in his life was on the light rail that he had never sat on a few times. Cyber lunatic? Don't complain so much now. Let's solve the matter in front of you first, V said with an ugly face, but it didn't seem to be because of the cyber madman in front of him, but because of the beautiful woman who fell on Ye Fei. Damn it, Ye Fei hasn't forgotten to pick up girls at this time. Jack scolded with a smile, because he followed V's line of sight and found Ye Fei and Lucy not far in front of him. Thank you. Lucy was very grateful to the man in front of her. If it wasn't for him, she might just lie on the ground and bleed to death like those who were hit by cyber lunatics. Don't thank me in a hurry. Our crisis has not been resolved yet. Although Ye Fei really wanted to chat with Lucy in front of him, the cyber madman in front of them was already killing the fifth passenger on the light rail. As soon as Ye Fei finished speaking, he rushed out and quickly reached the front of the cyber maniac. Hey, you idiot! Your grandpa is here. Ye Fei's speed was so fast that the cyber maniac only felt a figure passing by beside him, and then the voice sounded behind him. Kill. The cyber maniac seemed unable to say anything else now. After a low growl, he stretched out 10 slender needles and stabbed at Ye Fei. Taking a closer look at the 10 needles, it seems that there is still some liquid left, and it is not difficult to see that it should be something highly poisonous. Ye Fei, seeing this scene, V couldn't help exclaiming, although she already knew that Ye Fei had become stronger last night. But as Ye Fei's family, she didn't want Ye Fei to go out to be a hero at this time. Be careful. Lucy was also surprised. Although she hadn't seen cyber lunatics many times, she still knew the danger of cyber lunatics. To be honest, their hackers are a little afraid of these cyber lunatics. Unlike in the game, the cyber lunatic hackers here can interfere with them at most. You must know that the systems of these cyber lunatics have long been in chaos. It is simply impossible to control the prosthetic bodies of cyber lunatics and burn themselves like in the game. Chapter 9, Cyber Psychosis. This one, although in the eyes of others, the speed of this cyber madman is already very fast, but in the eyes of Ye Fei, the speed of this guy is no different from that of a snail. The hand had just touched Ye Fei's face. Ye Fei's eyes were focused, and for a moment he only felt the time and pause of this world. Then Ye Fei grabbed the cyber maniac's arm with one hand, and then Ye Fei pulled hard. Click, click, click. Ugh. Rao is a cyber lunatic who has lost his reason and was stunned for a moment. He clearly remembered that his hand was about to poke the prey in front of him. Why? Why did my arm disappear from my sight? He only started to react when he heard the sound of electric current rushing past his ears. Ugh. It turned out that his hand had been torn off by Ye Fei. Although it was a mechanical medical hand, the pain of being torn off would not be relieved at all. And because it is a cyber lunatic and the fusion of the prosthetic body is even more indispensable, the pain is even more obvious. Immediately afterwards, Ye Fei flashed behind him and kicked him to the ground. Ye Fei stepped on the cyber maniac's back with one foot. The huge force crushed this cyber lunatic whose whole body was covered with prosthetics, unable to move. Hey, Chica, sister. Ye Fei has always been so brave. Jack swallowed his saliva. When Ye Fei just ran to challenge the cyber maniac, Jack thought he was crazy. After all, every cyber maniac didn't know how many prosthetic bodies were hidden in his body. Maybe you just grab his hand 1 second, and a mantis knife that cuts iron like mud will pop out of it the next second and cut you in half. At this time, the floating car had found a relatively large open space to land, and the surrounding crowd had been dispersed by the NCPD. Those who usually like to watch the excitement did not dare to join in the excitement at this time. Just kidding, this is a cyber lunatic. This kind of guy is irrational and basically kills anyone he sees. People who like to watch the excitement no longer dare to approach. Seeing that the floating car had landed, the other people in the car couldn't wait to run out. I think we can withdraw first and wait for Ye Fei outside. Jack watched as the NCPD, surrounding their hover car, clutched the cash cow box containing the 3 of them. FK, if you want to go, you go, I won't leave. How could V have left while Ye Fei was still fighting the cyber maniac? It was just a foul curse. V, you guys get out of the car first. I'll be here right away, or I'll be in trouble if I get taken away by NCPD in the future. Ye Fei also said at this time, he knew that V was worried about him, but after the short fight just now, he had already discovered that his strength and speed had reached such a terrifying level. V was relieved when he heard Ye Fei's words, but for some reason, V's hanging heart was only relieved when Ye Fei said he could. Okay, then Jack and I will get out of the car first and wait for you nearby. Remember, don't be a hero. After gritting his teeth, V and Jack escorted the box in his hand out of the carriage. You have to be careful yourself. That guy's body is uncertain, and he will hide some dangerous prosthetic bodies. Lucy had already stood up and walked out of the car at this time, but there was still a hint of anxiety on her face, reminding her. Ah! At this time, the cybermaniac suddenly started to struggle violently, and his hands and feet began to show that weird twisted angle. Damn, can't you be honest? Just as Ye Fei was about to chat with Lucy, he felt the cyber madman under his feet start to struggle violently. You just shut up. As soon as Ye Fei finished speaking, the foot that stepped on the cyber lunatic lifted up, and before the cyber lunatic had time to react, Ye Fei's big 43-yard foot stepped on his head. Ye Fei stepped on his foot with 60% force. Puff! Immediately, the cyber lunatic under Ye Fei's feet was motionless, except for the occasional twitching of his hands and feet. Cyberpsychosis? That's it. Ye Fei thought how terrifying this thing was, but he didn't take it seriously. Follow up. Where's that cyber madman? The violent and terrorist mobile team who had just rushed into the car were stunned when they saw this scene. Ye Fei, dressed as a homeless person, held an arm of a cyber lunatic in his hand, and there was a red and white liquid under his feet. Officer, are you referring to the cyber lunatic under my feet? Cybermaniac? You look like a cyber maniac now. You are not allowed to move. Stand where you are. Accept the scan. Several members of the violent mobile team were extremely nervous at this time, although they knew which one was the cybermaniac through the monitoring in the car before getting into the car. The man in front of him who defeated the cybermaniac without any injuries was even more nervous. Make them nervous. Hey, you guys who don't know how to be grateful. I don't have time to spend here with you guys. Ye Fei said that the whole person disappeared in the eyes of this group of violent terrorist mobile team members. How is this possible? The members of the violent mobile team looked around the car, but they were shocked when they didn't find any trace of Ye Fei. Their equipment included prosthetic scanners for military-grade movement speed. How could Ye Fei be faster than these scanners? Forget it. Let's just clean up the mess in front of us first. The leader of the violent terrorist mobile team said. Chapter 10, so simple. V, do you think Ye Fei can escape? Jack frowned and said, to be honest, he should be more guarded against Ye Fei than a cyber madman NCPD cop. After all, being able to easily defeat a cyber lunatic is something that even the elite police officers of the terrorist mobile squad can't do, usually relying on the advantage of numbers and the consumption of cyber lunatics. Ye Fei will be fine. Jack also saw that although V said he was fine, he was actually in a panic. V and Jack are already on their way to find the priest. After all, they have spent so much effort on this stupid lizard in their hands, and now they naturally need to get this matter done first. Jack also gave Ye Fei the priest's address long ago. As long as Ye Fei can escape, he will come to them. Lucy, who was hiding behind the crowd, was also a little worried. Although she didn't know Ye Fei, she somehow saved her life. Lucy had already left the car when the terrorist mobile team arrived. After all, there must be people from the company in the NCPD. If she hid her tracks for so long, she wouldn't be arrested here, so I didn't see Ye Fei either. Stomp on that cyber lunatic's head. Lucy now just wants to see Ye Fei get out of the car safely and even be carried out by the terrorist mobile squad. I don't know why Lucy's heart, which was originally calm, had a ripple. What are you looking at? A familiar voice rang in Lucy's ear. Ah! Lucy was taken aback, and then saw Ye Fei leaning against the pillar next to her. Ye Fei looked at Lucy with a smile on his face. No, I didn't see anything. I'll go first. Lucy felt a little cramped for some reason, and planned to run away after speaking. Wait. Hearing Ye Fei's words, Lucy stopped moving even though she didn't know what he was going to do. I saved your life anyway, miss. Won't it be too rude to just go away? Lucy took Ye Fei to a small ramen shop that she liked in the Haywood area, and Lucy felt a little speechless when she saw Ye Fei unceremoniously slamming ramen in front of her. I didn't expect Haywood to have such a delicious ramen shop, Ye Fei said contentedly after taking a sip of the soup. Lucy was drinking her favorite carbonated drink, dragging her face with one hand, and said speechlessly, How is it? Is this okay? Thank you very much for your hospitality. My name is Ye Fei. I used to be a homeless person, and now I come to Night City to beg for a meal. After Ye Fei finished speaking, he stretched out a hand. Ye Fei's enthusiastic attitude caught Lucy a little off guard. After all, she had experienced too much since she escaped from the institution, grabbing other people's leftovers from beggars in the garbage dump. I have also met some perverts who coveted her body, but I have never met someone who wants to blow up her family background like Ye Fei. My name is Lucy. There's a saying in Night City that I have to tell you not to reveal your details to others easily. After speaking, Lucy shook Ye Fei's hand. That's right. It's the first time for me to do this too. It's the first time I've told a person my details like this. Of course, Ye Fei knew that out of 10 sentences he said in Night City, there could only be at most 3 truthful sentences. Otherwise, he might be betrayed at any time. It's a good thing for Lucy to reveal her name. You must know that in the anime, even if she worked with Man and the others for a year, Lucy and them basically only interacted when performing missions. If it weren't for David, it would be impossible for Lucy to have so many interactions with them. It is estimated that they will wait until Man's death and change to another mercenary boss. I just saw that you seem to be, Ye Fei said, imitating the action when Lucy stole a company dog chip in the car just now. Hey, quiet me. Are you going to talk about this like this? Lucy immediately grabbed Ye Fei's hand and pressed it down when she saw Ye Fei's movement. Oh, I've convinced you. Let me tell you the truth. I'm a hacker. I've only been in Night City for less than a month, but I only steal chips from company dogs. Lucy suddenly seemed to be discouraged and explained later. I don't suggest that. Anyway, everything can be tolerated in Night City. Ye Fei said carelessly. Anyway, in Night City, as long as you don't get caught by the police immediately or offend the rich. Even if the police skin you on the street and find that you are a bounty criminal, they don't bother to care about it. Usually it's, leave it to outsourced personnel to solve it, and just put a reward on the prisoner if you catch the prisoner. How is it? I think you should be a good hacker. Are you interested in joining my team? Ye Fei offered an olive branch to Lucy. You? The team? Didn't you just enter the city? Lucy looked at Ye Fei suspiciously. Hey, you don't have to worry about that. You should be able to see my skills in the car just now, and the terrorist mobile squad couldn't catch me. Lucy couldn't help being a little stunned, seeing Ye Fei's eloquent talk. After all, the people in Night City had always given him the impression of indifference. On the contrary, Ye Fei gave Lucy a different feeling. Perhaps Ye Fei is someone who could be trusted. Okay, I promise you. I really? Great. Ye Fei originally wanted to say something more to impress Lucy, but Ye Fei was a little surprised to hear that Lucy agreed, just like that. Is it that simple? Chapter 11, 60,000 euros in the account. What? You invited me to join your team, and now you want to go back on it. Seeing Ye Fei's surprised look, Lucy felt a little bit of joy in her heart for some reason. To be honest, as a hacker who has been trained by the company since she was a child and has seen many lives and deaths, Lucy has never had so many mood swings in the past few years when she escaped from the research institute and then went to Night City. Unexpectedly, in the process of communicating with Ye Fei, she would feel so many emotions. Thinking of this, the corner of Lucy's mouth showed a sincere smile. Lucy, don't you look good when you smile? It's better for yourself to smile more in the future. Seeing Lucy smiling, Ye Fei was very happy even though she didn't know what she was thinking. Originally thought that this Lucy would be as hard to show herself as the Lucy in the anime. But what I didn't expect was that it was easier to get close to the cold beauty than the anime. Ding ring. Ye Fei received a call from V at this time. And after some time in his mind, it should be that V and Jack had already finished their deal with the priest. V, are you done with it? Ye Fei saw V's face when he got on the phone. Ye Fei, you should get rid of NCPED, right? V asked nervously. Aren't I going to call you again? By the way, V, I found a master hacker who can help us in the future. We are at the Dashin Ramen restaurant. If you're done, come and find me. Okay, I just happen to be hungry too, but where did you find the master hacker? Hey, let's keep it a secret for now, and I'll talk to you in detail when you guys come. Ye Fei sent her location, and V hung up the phone. Ye Fei, actually, I don't want to know so many people. I can give you my contact information. Wouldn't it be great if I have work to do in the future? Lucy heard that Ye Fei wanted to introduce her to other people in the team. Years of lonely life and guarding against others made Lucy somewhat resistant. Don't worry, My team is all trustworthy people. Besides, we also need to get to know each other when we need to perform tasks in the future. It's better to know each other now than to rush ducks to the shelves in the future, right? Catch the ducks to the shelves? What does that mean? Well, there's an old saying in our Chinese hometown, which means that if you don't prepare properly, you can easily mess up. Ye Fei scratched his head and reluctantly explained. After listening to Ye Fei's words, Lucy lowered her head and thought for a few seconds. After thinking about it, she felt that what Ye Fei said was also reasonable. As a team member, you need to be familiar with each other, but at least you must know the specific responsibilities of the other party. It is of course best to get to know each other, but Lucy didn't notice that she had already begun to automatically accept Ye Fei's words subtly. Okay, let's get to know each other then. Ye Fei was also very happy to hear Lucy's words. To be honest, he wanted to change the idea of being lonely like Lucy in the anime and wanted to take care of everything by himself. After all, sometimes when you need to rely on others, don't support yourself. I just don't know if David is still studying at Arbon Academy in this timeline. After all, Lucy appeared at the same time as V just entered Night City. And it's 2 years later than the timeline in the anime? Maybe it's too early. After all, Ye Fei thinks that the Lucy in this world has just turned 20, not the 22 or 23 years old in the anime. Ye Fei. When Ye Fei had just finished his third bowl of noodles, he heard Jack's familiar voice. Here, V. Jack, come here. Ye Fei waved to V and Jack, who were standing in front of the small shop. You boy, you can actually escape from the hands of the violent mobile team. You have a few tricks. Jack patted Ye Fei on the shoulder with a smile and said, There are a lot of people here. You said that I seem to be a cyber psychopath. How can I escape from the hands of the violent terrorist mobile team? Ye Fei rolled his eyes and said angrily, Ye Fei, how do you know about this small shop? V is a bit puzzled. After all, this is Ye Fei's first time entering Night City. Although the location of this small shop is not remote, it is definitely not a place that Ye Fei randomly picked. Lucy brought me here. Lucy, it's the master hacker I found. Here, it's her. V looked at Lucy, sitting next to Ye Fei, who was drinking a carbonated drink and raising her hand to signal to herself. She just felt confused now. Why would Ye Fei know that this beautiful girl is a master hacker? Wow, Ye Fei is really talented. I didn't expect you to find such a beautiful girl after V, and I left for such a short time. On the contrary, when Jack saw Lucy's appearance, he was not much surprised. Jack had noticed Lucy just now on the public light rail. After all, he has such a good-looking face and a good figure. Even if Jack had Misty, he would care about it. After all, no matter whether a man is 8 or 80 years old, he always has to look twice more. FKU, Jack hasn't seen you look serious all day. Ye Fei didn't know how many times he gave Jack the eyes today. He felt that if he turned over, he might have cramp. Ye Fei, I'll transfer the reward to you now. I'll give V's share from the priest. Seeing that the zero balance in the lower left corner of his line of sight had increased by more than 60,000 euros, Ye Fei felt a lot more at ease. Chapter 12, Buying an Apartment. Hi, I'm V. Lucy, a hacker. Compared with Ye Fei and Jack's carefree communication, the communication between Lucy and V seems much more dull. But is it really what it looks like on the surface? V looked at Lucy in front of her. The short white hair, just right, matched with that delicate face. And that outfit all gave V a sense of crisis that she didn't even know about. When V was looking at Lucy, Lucy was also looking at V. Although V's skin was not as delicate and fair as Lucy's, it didn't look dry, peeling, and black like those homeless people outside. The healthy wheat color looks just right with the curvy figure and the silver hair. Hey, what are you two beauties talking about? My name is Jack, Jack Wells, and you can call me Jack just like Ye Fei. Jack poked his head out to greet Lucy. Lucy. After saying her name Lucy, she didn't continue to say more. Seeing that Lucy didn't intend to chat with him, Jack didn't think too much, but ate the ramen that the boss had just served. Oh, the ramen here at Ye Fei is really good. I didn't expect you to find this kind of shop. Jack originally thought that Ye Fei was just looking for a ramen shop to fill his stomach when he was hungry, but he didn't expect the ramen here to be so delicious. Ahaha, is that right or not? Ye Fei didn't say that Lucy brought him here. After all, Lucy might not want others to know. Phew. Oh, then, where are you going to live? I transferred a huge sum of money just now. Jack asked with a muffled face, because he hadn't swallowed the noodles in his mouth, so it seemed that Jack's voice was a little unclear. Please, can you swallow it and talk properly? Ye Fei was a little speechless. This kind of thing is not so urgent, right? After all, there is no rush now. Actually, I don't know which house to rent. After all, V and I just came to Night City. After Ye Fei finished speaking, he looked at V, who was chatting enthusiastically with Lucy, which made Ye Fei puzzled. Why? This cyberpunk world is not the world of his previous life, and women can still talk about cosmetics and luxury goods when they meet. Neither V nor Lucy are the kind of women who care about such things, are they? Ye Fei really can't figure out why V and Lucy have the same language. V, what kind of house do you want to live in? Hearing Ye Fei's words, V waved his hands without turning his head and said, You decide, don't disturb my chat with Lucy. Okay, Ye Fei, just let me chat with you. I just know a few better buyout apartments, one-time payment for 1 year, and no additional utility bills and electrical usage fees. As Jack spoke, his eyes lit up, and then a contract plan for 4 houses appeared in front of Ye Fei's eyes. The rent of the apartment in Japan Street is 15,000 euros. It is located next to the Cherry Blossom Market. It has 2 bedrooms, 1 living room, and 1 kitchen, with independent bathroom. Unrestrained, standing by the window can enjoy the style of the neighborhood. Although the rent of this apartment was okay, Ye Fei felt that the layout was too small and not suitable for him. But thinking of this, Ye Fei suddenly felt that the things Jack sent looked familiar no matter how they looked. Damn it, Jack, you just sent me the ad. When Ye Fei saw he knew that it wasn't Jack's handwriting homework at all. He probably wrote down the better S he saw and sent them to him. Hey, don't worry about so many details, buen amigo buddies. Just pick the one you like. Anyway, the money you and V made this time is enough for you to rent a good apartment. Jack smiled and didn't refute. Seeing Jack's appearance, Ye Fei didn't say too much. After all, Jack didn't have too many debts before doing this job. It's not bad. He probably wouldn't consider renting a better house until he had enough money. Thinking of this, Ye Fei began to look at the Jack sent him again. The Company Square apartment rents for 55,000 euros, located next to the Company Square in the city center. 1 bedroom and 1 living room have an independent cloakroom and an independent bathroom with dry and wet separation. There is also a home bar counter, which is developed by Araba Group and has quality assurance. Stylish and classic decoration, excellence, and complete security facilities is your ideal home. Standing in front of the apartment bed, you can enjoy the most beautiful scenery of Night City. Damn it, Ye Fei can't wait to kill Adam Heavyhammer and live not far from Huangban Tower. And the price of 55,000 euros is entirely because the house is near the Huangban Tower, not because of how good the house is, and the space is about the same size as the previous Japan Street apartment. The apartment buyout system in the North District requires a one-time payment of 5,000 euros. It is located in the North District of the city, with 1 bedroom and 1 living room. It is reliable and practical, and the small space makes it comfortable to use. Ye Fei glanced at the preview of this apartment and shook his head. Although this house is very cheap and can be bought for only 5,000 euros, the space is really too small. It's fine for one person to live in, but I want to use it for him, and V living in it is pure nonsense. The one-time payment of 40,000 euros for the apartment buyout system in the Valley area is located in the Valley area. It is divided into upper and lower floors. The lower floor is the daily life area, and the upper floor is the rest area. The decoration atmosphere has a unique metal texture. This set of Ye Fei is quite satisfactory. Seeing the preview picture, all kinds of facilities are available. The space is still large, and the location is in the Haywood area. It's not the city center as advertised, but the location is not too far from anywhere. That's the Valley apartment, Jack. With a flash in front of Ye Fei's eyes, he signed the electronic contract that came with and the words minus 4,000 appeared in the lower left corner of his eyes in an instant. Although it hurts a bit, Ye Fei still thinks the money is worth it. Chapter 13, Toby, at the end of the way. V, I just bought an apartment in Haywood. Should we go and have a look now? That apartment is not far from our side. Ye Fei said to V after finishing all this. Oh, Did you choose the apartment? Although I think I could trust your vision, let's go and see how this apartment is. Lucy, how about you come to visit too? Huh? That's not appropriate, is it, V? What's inappropriate? Ye Fei, I want Lucy to visit the apartment you just bought. Do you agree or not? Agree. How could I disagree? Ye Fei felt happy when he heard what V said. How could he disagree? Lucy just lived in their house, and he didn't recommend it. Wow. Ye Fei, your vision is really good, the scenery and the decoration. Jack stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows and looked enviously at the scene below the high-rise apartment building. To be honest, if he hadn't owed money to others before and he had a fancy motorcycle, he would have wished to buy such an apartment and live in it. Well, it's really good. Ye Fei replied a little speechlessly and at the same time was full of depression. He originally thought that he could visit this apartment alone with V and Lucy, but he didn't expect that Jack, who likes to join in the fun, also came. Your uncle. I will call your phone sooner or later when you and Misty are doing business. Lucy didn't act that exaggeratedly, but she couldn't hide the envy in her eyes. She had only been in Night City for less than a month. She hasn't found an apartment suitable for her yet, and the money she earned from stealing chips every day is enough for her to live in a better hotel and eat. After all, there is no stable and reliable middleman, and Lucy can only find some poorly skilled prosthetic doctors to sell those chips a low price. Seeing that the first order Ye Fei completed on the first day in Night City was enough for him to afford the 40,000 euro apartment, the gap in his desire to live on the moon was even greater. What's the matter, Lucy? What's on your mind? What's your problem? Both Ye Fei and V noticed something strange about Lucy. It's nothing, I just think that you and Ye Fei are so good that you can afford this apartment just after entering the city and completing the first order. When Lucy heard Ye Fei and V's words, she didn't react for a while and expressed her inner thoughts. By the time she realized it, it was too late. I'll go to the bathroom first. After Lucy finished speaking, she ran into the bathroom. Lucy, what happened to you today? You didn't show that vigilance at all. Lucy washed her face and then looked up at herself in the mirror, showing a little tiredness. Yes, who can live alone for nearly 10 years without being tired? Perhaps Ye Fei and V, who are homeless today, treat Lucy with the same attitude as their family members. Let Lucy inadvertently remove her high-cold disguise. Night some outdoor bar in Night City. Oh, isn't this Toby? I heard that you were tricked by a third-rate mercenary and 2 homeless people. Why do you have time to come to my place for a drink today? Man looked mockingly at Toby Jies, who was sitting next to him, drinking one bottle after another. FKU. I've never been so angry in my life. I'll use my last savings to give it to you. Go and kill that third-rate mercenary and those 2 damn homeless. Toby Jies' eyes were red, and his eyes had lost all reason. Tell me how much money you can pay. Man glanced mockingly at Toby Jies, who was full of madness. He had heard that the pocket of his trousers was cleaner than his face by that third-rate mercenary. Gritting his teeth, Toby Jies directly transferred his last 5,000 ohms to Man. Yo, generous. What do you call that mercenary? Man didn't refuse. Anyway, it was quite easy for him to kill a third-rate mercenary. It just took a little time to find someone. Here's the information. One is Jack Wells. He's from Haywood. He used to be part of the Valentino gang. And the other 2 are V and Ye Fei, both homeless. After all this was done, Toby Jies raised his head and drank the beer in his hand. Jack, you made me do this. Toby Jies still remembers Jack's mocking tone in the morning. Although he is a small middleman, he shouldn't be a third-rate mercenary like Jack who can kill him. He is now almost the target of ridicule by everyone, whether it is the mercenaries he hired before or his former subordinates. Toby, you can actually let a third-rate mercenary screw you, ha ha. No money? You still want to be my boss if you don't have money? Get the hell out of here. Doesn't it make you more honorable to hang out with someone than with you? It is easier to become a mud in Night City than to become a legend. In other words, good things don't go out and bad things spread thousands of miles. In just half a day, the news that Toby was ripped off by Jack without a dime has already spread among the low-level mercenaries. Chapter 14 Moonwalk Midnight. Ye Fei stood in front of the huge floor-to-ceiling windows looking at the brightly lit night city below, drinking the beer that came with the refrigerator at home. Well, is brightly lit. After all, it is normal for night city lights and fire to appear together. But he was very restless in his heart. After all, no one would be driven to sleep on the sofa in the living room on the first day they bought a new home. The reason is because V knew that Lucy didn't have a fixed residence yet. So he simply invited Lucy to live in their house, and there were only 2 beds upstairs. Naturally, Ye Fei was driven to sleep on the sofa in the living room. He didn't expect that V would become a best friend within half a day of getting along with Lucy, and he didn't know what the 2 of them had in common. Can't sleep? Ye Fei turned around and saw Lucy walking down the attic stairs. Well, you can't sleep either? Not much to say. Although Ye Fei now possesses superhuman abilities, it seems that this ability has not been fully activated. He calculated the power he had now. Super strength, super brain, super speed, man of steel. The rest of the Cyclops, flying, biological stance, and the like are not unlocked, maybe because the sun hasn't been exposed enough. I'm not used to living with people. Although Lucy hesitated, she still expressed her true thoughts. You don't need to worry about anything. You can live here until you have the money to rent a house by yourself. I have already asked Jack to find a middleman to accept the commission. Ye Fei sat on the sofa and drank the beer in his hand. Is there any more? Lucy said with gleam in her eyes. Let me see. How many bottles do you want to drink? And I'll take them. Well, let me have a drink too. A man and a woman just sat on the sofa and drank beer. Why are you and V coming to Night City? Why did you come to Night City? The family broke up, and V and I came to Night City. You know that's not what I'm talking about. Hearing this, Ye Fei smiled heartily, glanced at Lucy, and said, Okay, I want to be a living legend in Night City. What about you? What dream did you come to Night City to realize? Hearing Ye Fei's question, Lucy pondered for a while, then took out a device that can play mute woe, and then took out a chip like a baby. You should also have Xiaoming equipment. Hearing what Lucy said, Ye Fei took out the somewhat old Xiaoming device that he brought out from the family in his backpack. Is this okay? All right, let me connect with you and share this super dream with you. Lucy nodded and said. Hearing this, Ye Fei revealed the connection port around his neck. After all the preparations were done, Lucy and Ye Fei lay on the spread-out sofa. After a flash of white light, Ye Fei found himself and Lucy standing on the surface of the moon. Ye Fei jumped 5 meters with a light jump. This is the data of a normal person with Xiaoming equipment. If Ye Fei's superhuman physical fitness is used, I am afraid that he will jump out of the moon. It's really a wonderful feeling. So is your dream to go to the moon? Ye Fei asked knowingly. No, I want to live on the moon. Lucy said calmly. It's really a good dream. Hearing Ye Fei's words, Lucy looked at him and asked, Don't you think it's a little childish? Childish? Maybe. But everyone has to have something to pursue, right? Let's enjoy our time on the moon for now. After Ye Fei finished speaking, he began to experience this feeling of weightlessness. To be honest, it would be great if the warm sun in Xiaoming could also absorb energy for him. The 2 walked on the moon, and before Ye Fei skipped across, he was just an 18-year-old college student who had just entered college. Although I've been maintaining my rationality after time travel, the lively and positive attitude in my heart cannot be changed. These are exactly the parts that Lucy lacks. She's always in fear all the way, for fear that one day she will be arrested by the company again. One day I saw that I could go to live on the moon, and only then did I have this dream of going to the moon. By the time Lucy realized it, Ye Fei was already sitting on a lunar exploration vehicle holding her hand. This can also be opened. Ye Fei had already started playing with this thing as he spoke. Like Lucy in the anime, holding the manual gear and moving the car a few times, there was a movement, and then Ye Fei stepped on the accelerator. Swish! All of a sudden the car rushed out. Woohoo! It's so cool! Ha ha! Ye Fei drove Lucy's emotions into agitation. Ye Fei is right here. Stop here. Driving somewhere, Lucy patted Ye Fei on the shoulder. Okay. Ye Fei turned the steering wheel and slammed on the brakes. Click. Bark. Bark. The wheels of the lunar exploration vehicle made a harsh, drifting sound. Here, It's the kind of helmet worn by astronauts. Do you want to try it? Lucy took out 2 helmets from the back of the car and put them on first. Ye Fei didn't refuse either, so he put on the helmet. Well, there's no other experience except that the vision becomes a little dim. Thinking of this, Ye Fei saw Lucy standing opposite him. Haha, this look is kind of fun. Lucy blushed when she heard Ye Fei's words. Before, she was in this super dream by herself, and this time she walked on the moon with Ye Fei for the first time. Now, there's another person who went to the moon with me, only to find that his appearance looks a little silly. Oh haha, but Lucy didn't feel embarrassed and laughed heartily with Ye Fei. Chapter 15. The Scared Abernathy. So that's all the footage you got from that car? A well-dressed woman sat at the main seat in the conference room and said while looking at the screen projected, "Yes, we found this man in the surveillance video of the public light rail, where the cyber-psychotic incident happened this morning." The man in a black suit said respectfully, "But the man in this video doesn't seem to have anything special." Abernathy rewinds the video for a second with contemptuous eyes. The man in the screen is Ye Fei. In the video, Ye Fei appears behind the cyber maniac again in an instant. And then it is Ye Fei who single-handedly withdraws from the game. Crazy Beau's arm. Ye Fei stomped on Crazy Cyber's head and ran away after boarding the car with the terrorist mobile team. The great thing is that I installed the 4th Order model Sean Weston and probably installed some military-grade prosthetic bodies on my hands. It's not a big deal. If you call me to the company's confidential studio just for this, I promise you're going to get out of the Barren Tower tomorrow. Abernathy was a little annoyed. Although she was a ruthless character who could use Tier 4 Sean Weston, this was at most something that her subordinates had the authority to decide. As one of the high-level executives of the Arbin Company, if she was troubled by this role every day, she might be too busy to die. Please use this chip to take a look. At the beginning, we also thought that this person had installed a military prosthetic body, but we discovered an even more astonishing fact. The man in black tremblingly handed a chip to Abernathy. "Hey, well, this is the last time if I don't see anything of value, you'll be F-ed." As he spoke, Abernathy took out his Mutwo device and then inserted the chip on it. A burst of white light flashed. Abernathy's perspective is obviously that of the cyber madman. The video started when Ye Fei appeared in the sight of the cyber maniac. As soon as the shooting started, people in the carriage turned upside down and everyone fell to the ground, except for the white-haired woman who stood there dumbfounded. Stupid, you deserve to die," Abernathy said softly. After all, cyber maniacs who have already pulled out their guns and shot them and are still standing there dumbfounded are not suitable for living in Night City where shootings happen every day. But just when the bullet was about to hit the white-haired woman, she disappeared from the cyber maniac's sight. "What's going on? Is there something wrong with Chow Ming?" Abernathy frowned and asked, "Director, you rewind the video half a second ago and slow it down 100 times. Hearing what the man in black said, Abernathy did the same. And then he saw Ye Fei appearing next to the white-haired woman for an instant and then disappearing from sight. Although it was slowed down 100 times, she could only see the afterimage of Ye Fei. Then came the various actions of Ye Fei appearing in the sight of the cybermaniac. This person can actually use 4 or 5 4th-order CN Weistons in a few minutes. Abernathy was a little surprised. One must know that even the 2nd-order Sion Wistan can only be controlled by veterans who have experienced many battles. The 4th-level Sion Weisstein is afraid that if he uses it once, he will become a lunatic, but the man in this video can use it 4 or 5 times in a row, and from the perspective of a cyber lunatic, there is no burden at all. Well, he can indeed be a level figure that you can report to me for processing. Send me his information. Just after Abernathy finished speaking, the man in black said again, "Director, you can use the scan to see. That's why I reported him to you." Abernathy frowned, although she hadn't scanned it. But based on her own judgment and Ye Fei's performance in the video, she could basically judge that this is a wanderer who obtained the 4th-order Sign Vestian by some method. As for the 5th-order Sion Waystein, even the Atom Heavy Hammer didn't dare to install that thing. It was too much of a burden. It is possible that the prosthetic hand is also a military 4th-order prosthetic body. I didn't think too much about it, since my confidant asked her to scan it. Then just do it. Ye Fei who previously belonged to the Buckle family, entered Night City this morning. The information presented in front of him is also basically in line with Abernathy's conjecture. Maybe it's just a wanderer who broke away from his family. Maybe it's the fourth-order Scene-Wisdom obtained by robbing a military company's transport convoy. However, the following information completely shocked Abernathy. Scan results. None of the prosthetic bodies are normal human organs, none. Prosthetics. These big characters are displayed in Abernathy's eyes. This is impossible. His speed cannot be achieved by the human body. This has been tested in the company long ago. Abernathy was shocked. As the director of the company's intelligence department, he had seen all kinds of super-modified people equipped with advanced prosthetic bodies. She has even met the legendary Adam Hammer in Night City Mercenaries, and she even has the authority to instruct Adam Hammer. As long as she makes a phone call, Adam Heavy Hammer will come to do things for him immediately, even if he is installing the prosthetic body now. But she swears that she has never seen anyone in her life who can fight someone with a prosthetic body with unmodified hands and feet, and it's not just hard work or exercise that can make up for it. In the video, Ye Fei is not just a lunatic who easily abuses cyber. Cyber lunatics are generally people who have transformed themselves into insanity. Almost all the prosthetic bodies on their body are more than 60% perverted. Even people with similar levels of modification can't fight these cyber lunatics. After all, how can you fight with reason while desperate? Chapter 16 Breakfast, Director Abernathy. Our technicians have scanned everything, and all fault have been eliminated. Hurry up. This homeless man named Ye Fei doesn't have any prosthetic body except for the simplest chip slot and operating system. The man in black knows the importance of this matter, and it is very likely that it will become a step for him to reach the sky, so he is also very concerned. Use the company's lower-level personnel to find this homeless person. Remember, I want to live. Abernathy pondered for a while, then said, "It's very simple, since the company's technicians have scanned it, and it shows that Ye Fei doesn't have any prosthetic body. All of them are original. So unless the scanning systems of her and these technicians are all broken, although Abernathy believes in the second possibility compared to the first one. But that's simply not possible. The most urgent task now is to catch Ye Fei to the wasteboard and take him to their Space Research Institute urgently before other companies can react. To be honest, it was lucky the human beings like Ye Fei, whose physical stats far surpassed others, appeared first in Night City, where their Huangban company had control. Otherwise, if they appear in the territory of Kongtao or military technology, and let them take the lead in researching the reason for the birth of a superhuman like Ye Fei, Arigata may even have a slim chance of breaking his arms. It's just that Abernathy doesn't know that Ye Fei's ability is completely out of their control. That is the power of the gods on Earth. Inside the luxury apartment in Night City. Are you saying this guy in the video is a homeless guy who just came into town? Jefferson fell into deep thought while watching the video sent by his confidant in NCPD. Yes, Jefferson, I think you can recruit this man and make him work for you. Wayne's eyes are burning, although he doesn't know what kind of prosthetic body the person in this video is, but the ability to easily kill cyber lunatics in seconds, as long as he can enter the violent terrorist mobile team and execute a few times to kill cyber psychopaths. Then Jefferson can use his contacts in the media to promote a hero, so that Jefferson's mayoral campaign may be even simpler. Okay, I'll get someone to investigate this homeless man. After weighing the pros and cons, Jefferson also felt that recruiting Ye Fei would help him compete for the position of mayor. It's just that if Ye Fei knew Jefferson's thoughts, he would only pity him. After all, although Jefferson was young and promising, he could compete for the mayor of Night City in his 30s. But he is a poor man controlled by a mysterious organization. Even one's own memory, thoughts, and even personality are controlled, and life is monitored. Ye Fei has guessed more than once who is behind the scenes controlling Jefferson. It may be the company, or it may be the Mr. Blue Eyes who entrusted V to rob the Crystal Palace in the King of the City finale. Thank you for listening to me about this seemingly ridiculous dream, and for doing those things with me in Xiaoming. Lucy looked at Ye Fei, who was sitting beside her calmly. At this time, her heart was full of peace without the uneasy emotions before. Everyone has their own dreams. I think your dream is cool too, don't you? And you even went to the moon for free. I thank you before it's too late. Hearing Ye Fei's words, Lucy also showed a heartfelt smile, drank the remaining beer in one gulp, stood up, and walked up to the attic. Ye Fei knew that since Lucy was willing to tell him her dream of going to the moon, her heart had opened to him. Then he lay down on the sofa and fell asleep. After all, he had an appointment with Jack tomorrow to buy some equipment. Early in the morning, Ye Fei woke up after feeling the sunlight. The first thing Ye Fei did when he got up in the morning was to use his own operating system to place an order online to buy some eggs, bread, and milk. Well, they're all made of healthy ingredients, and this meal cost 500 euros. You must know that a good meal at those street stalls is estimated to be less than 10 euros. Ye Fei just bought some pollution-free eggs and already bought 400 euros, and the remaining 100 euros are the quality of the purchase. Nice bread and milk. The robot delivered it very quickly, and it was delivered to Ye Fei's balcony in less than 20 minutes. After spending a little time making 3 breakfasts, Ye Fei sat directly in the place with the best lighting in the entire apartment. Ye Fei's whole body has been bathed in the sun, fully absorbing the energy that the sun brings to him. Ye Fei, are you basking in the sun again? V is not surprised to see this scene. After all, V knows that Ye Fei has become stronger in the sun. Well, V, why don't you have some breakfast first? I made it fresh. There is still in the refrigerator. Do you still make breakfast? I want to taste it. V was also a little surprised. After all, she had lived with Ye Fei for more than 10 years, and this was the first time Ye Fei cooked her breakfast. However, in the homeless camp, they usually eat those high-tech synthetic meatloaf and bread, which tastes justified. There is nothing more to say about the taste. First, he took a bite of the steaming bread and then looked at the fried eggs that were golden in color and exuding aroma, and V picked them up with his chopsticks and ate them. Although it is not overly complicated, the natural aroma of non-polluted eggs and Ye Fei's proper seasoning make this simple scrambled eggs the best delicacy V has ever tasted. I didn't expect you to have such a hand. From now on, we will let you take care of our family's meals. Okay, after hearing what V said, Ye Fei didn't recommend it. All the cooking videos he watched in his previous life were all classic favorites and favorites, and then the videos were left in the favorites and never came out again. However, after Ye Fei activates his super brain, he can remember all kinds of things clearly, whether it is this life or the previous life, and those cooking videos are like replaying them in front of his eyes. He doesn't want to eat those unsafe food stalls outside. His previous life was full of technology. In this cyberpunk world, maybe the meat sausage is full of starch. Chapter 17, the good guy Victor Lucy also came down from upstairs at this time and saw V wolfing down at the dining table. Lucy, are you awake? Come, try Ye Fei's breakfast. I can guarantee that this is the best thing you have ever eaten. V saw Lucy beckoning Lucy to sit down in front of the dining table. Stop doing this and that and eat. Seeing Lucy's hesitation, V picked up some eggs with Lucy's chopsticks and stuffed them into Lucy's mouth. Okay, it's delicious. Is this a pollution-free egg? Lucy was a little surprised as she chewed the eggs that were soft and tasted just right. At the same time, I feel a little embarrassed. After all, she has occasionally browsed the non-polluting vegetables and ingredients on the internet. And each of these things, even if it costs a little to make a meal, is already worth what she has spent in a day or two. Meal bill. It's okay as long as you like it. We can make more money in the future. Ye Fei believes that money is not saved but earned. After the breakfast episode, Ye Fei and V took Lucy and went out. About half an hour later, the three of Ye Fei appeared in Misty's shop. Jack was sitting on the full-body chair in Misty's shop enjoying Misty's massage. Jack, you seem to be in a good mood. Did you complete the commission last time? Hey, Misty, I made a lot of money on that order last time. Come closer and I'll tell you how much I made. Although Jack said that he wanted to tell Misty how much he earned, the smirk on his face had already revealed his thoughts. Hey, Jack, what are you doing? When Misty was about to kiss Jack, Ye Fei shouted loudly on purpose. I'll go. Ye Fei, don't bring such grudges. Jack was taken aback at first and was about to get angry and teach this ignorant guy a lesson when he looked up and saw Ye Fei. Forget it. You can't afford to mess with the big guy who tore apart the cyber mental illness. What's the grudge? Didn't you let us come here to install the prosthetic body? Ye Fei, pretending to be confused, made Jack's teeth itch with hatred. But Ye Fei didn't know Misty either, so Jack had nothing to say. Okay, I'm afraid of you. There's a step down by the back door. You can go directly to Dr. Victor inside. Jack now only hopes that Ye Fei will leave quickly so as not to disturb himself and Misty making out. Without saying anything, Ye Fei walked to the place that he was very familiar with. Huh, you're the ones introduced by Jack, right? Come and sit down and tell me what kind of prosthetic body you want to install. A familiar voice sounded, and Ye Fei remembered how much Victor took care of V in the game. First, he installed a military-grade first-order cross-leg prosthetic eye for V for free, and then Victor also selflessly helped V in the subsequent plots. It can be said that Victor simply treats V as his own child, which is not to mention how rare it is in this cyberpunk world. Victor was not surprised to see the three of Ye Fei. Jack had already greeted him yesterday. I don't need a prosthesis. V, Lucy, you two? Let's see what you want to install. Are you kidding? Ye Fei himself is the scariest weapon. Installing a prosthetic body? What do you want Ye Fei to install? It's not that Ye Fei looks down on these prosthetic bodies. Even with his current strength, the 5th-tier military-grade prosthetic body with the most terrifying increase should not even try to compete with him. Ye Fei could feel this very clearly. Victor, I want to know what kind of prosthetic body you have here. Hearing V's question like this, Victor took out his good stuff. The 2nd-level Crossroads prosthetic eye is 3,000 ohms, and the 3rd-level subcutaneous armor is 6,000 ohms. I think if you just installed the prosthetic body, you only need to install these 2 things. Wait until you get used to it later. There is still time to install these prosthetic bodies. After hearing what Victor said, Ye Fei also nodded slightly. Victor said the truth. Although V's prosthetic body installation almost reached the point of mechanical ascension in the game, Ye Fei knew very well that it was all because of the relic chip. The current V is just an ordinary person, and it is not suitable to install too many prosthetic bodies at once. V, I also think it's fine for you to install these prosthetic bodies for the time being, and it's just right for the commissions we can receive now. Okay, then I'll install these 2 prosthetic bodies first. Although V doesn't really understand the details of installing a prosthetic body, she knows that there are some things that she understands, and she doesn't understand, especially when it comes to these things. Don't think that you know more than professionals. So, what would you like to add, lady? Seeing that V agreed, Victor turned to look at Lucy, who was standing aside. Huh? Me? Sorry, I don't think I have enough money to install a prosthetic body. Lucy immediately waved her hands when she heard Victor's inquiry. Although she has a little savings now, she can't afford the cost of adding prostheses at all. V just installed 2 prostheses and it cost 9,000 euros. She doesn't know how many chips she will steal for this money to arrive. Don't worry, your consumption today is regarded as the reward I paid you in advance, and I will deduct it directly after you finish the task. Ye Fei patted his chest and said, although he only has 20,000 yuan left now, he can still install a better prosthetic body for Lucy. Yeah, it's okay for Lucy. If Ye Fei doesn't have enough money, I'll help you. Seeing that Lucy was still hesitant, V also persuaded her. Then I want a chip that can speed up the cracking. After much hesitation, Lucy still felt that it was necessary to install a prosthetic body. After all, it has been nearly 10 years since she escaped from the institution, and the chips and nervous system on her body have been out of date. Most of the time before, she relied on her computing power to figure out the weaknesses of other people's programs. Okay, how about you look at this? Parallel line of military technology. Although it is not the best network access chip on the market, it also has multitasking capabilities. As long as you have a basic hacking foundation, you can quickly adapt to use. Then this chip. By the way, Dr. Victor, please give me one too. Although I don't have a prosthetic body, I can still click on the chip. Okay, here are 2 parallel wires. You just need to insert them into your own card slots to use them. After finishing speaking, Victor put the 2 chips on the table. This is the first time we have cooperated. I will charge you 19,000 euros. As for the cost of installing the prosthetic body, you don't need it. Chapter 18A system without vulnerabilities. Because Lucy and Ye Fei only needed a chip, they didn't need Victor to modify them. So they went to Misty's shop and waited for Victor to modify V's prosthetic body. Oh, Ye Fei, you two don't need Victor to modify the prosthetic body? Seeing Ye Fei and Lucy walking out of Victor's clinic so quickly, Jack said with some doubts. Ye Fei replied, Lucy is a hacker, and I just need to replace a better operating system. I don't need to modify the prosthetic body. V chose a subcutaneous armor and a second-order Crossroads prosthetic eye. It is estimated that it will be installed soon. All right, that's it, whatever you want. Have you received any commission? No, but the priest has issued a big order. Are you interested? Jack glanced at his message panel, but he didn't see any other intermediaries entrusting him, but he saw entrustment sent by the priest. Oh, tell me about it. A man named Sally Wilson was kidnapped by the Maelstrom gang half an hour ago. He asked all the middlemen to tell us these mercenaries that he would pay 40,000 for the order to rescue his son. Ye Fei also nodded when he heard the reward of 40,000 euros. Don't look at them earning 200,000 after a wave of cheating, but it is basically impossible to copy it. After all, no matter how lucky they are, it is impossible to find the first one. 2 red lizards. Okay, we'll take this order, and we'll go after V is refitted. Ye Fei, where are you going to find this son? He was just kidnapped. Jack scratched his head and said, after all, the Maelstrom gang must have kidnapped the rich man's son to extort a sum of money. How could it be so easy to find someone? Say you're stupid. Let me ask you. The Whirlpool helped those people catch a cash cow. Should we protect it? Jack nodded in agreement. Then shouldn't they be placed where they are best defended? Yeah, how do I know where their best defense is? Isn't their old den, the Whole Foods factory, the best place to defend? Ye Fei is really speechless. Jack really doesn't like to use his brain. Even if V disagrees with him in the game, Jack can immediately accept it and follow suit. It can be seen that Jack really likes to fight. You put this point on other characters. As long as V makes a move or is discovered, they will curse before going into battle. It's also how Ye Fei. Hearing Jack's words, Ye Fei also knew that Jack probably understood what he meant, so he simply ignored Jack. He started to tinker with the military parallel cable that had just been put into his chip slot. Looking at the operation panel with a lot of data jumping, Ye Fei felt a little dazzled, but he could still see it. Lucy, who was sitting on a chair beside her, was replacing her own system and hadn't adjusted it yet. In less than 2 minutes, Ye Fei had thoroughly eaten the operating system. Turning on the scanning mode and looking at the street, Ye Fei found that Victor seemed to have sent them an NCPD backdoor system to see some tasks issued by NCPD. Glancing at the vending machine at the entrance of Misty's shop, the data in Ye Fei's eyes jumped quickly, and a bottle of carbonated drink popped out of the vending machine. Is this so convenient to operate? Ye Fei just felt that with a little manipulation, the vending machine was breached by himself, and then he chose a bottle of lemon-flavored drink at random and returned it. Lucy, on the other hand, has just debugged her own system. Lucy, is your system debugged? As Ye Fei said, he handed a small bottle of Coca-Cola to Lucy. Well, it took some time to replace and debug the data, but I'm almost used to it. Lucy turned out to be the Coke in Ye Fei's hand. She quite liked drinking these carbonated drinks. What about you? Ye Fei, can you operate the system well? Lucy asked after taking a sip of her drink. Me? I feel that I have adapted to this program without much debugging the system. You are too reckless. Let me check it for you. Lucy frowned when she heard Ye Fei's words. Even a senior hacker like her had to debug it for about 10 minutes. How could Ye Fei, who has never installed a hacking system, be able to debug it so quickly? Pull out a connecting cable from the palm of your hand and plug it into the excuse of Ye Fei's neck. Ye Fei didn't resist and just stood there for Lucy to check. Huh, is it really all debugged? Let's check again. Lucy was a little surprised when she saw the data in front of her that couldn't find any loopholes. To be honest, she checked Ye Fei's hacking system and found no data loopholes, but she looked at it again with some worries. It didn't take a minute for Lucy to disconnect herself from Ye Fei. Ye Fei, the system you debugged doesn't even have any bugs. Lucy looked at Ye Fei very puzzled and said, to be honest, even the systems debugged by the real master hackers in network monitoring cannot have any loopholes, and half of the network monitoring will install many traps with the loopholes in their data systems to prevent other hackers from catching them. Burn the brain clean. But Ye Fei just let her check the system at will without reservation. Lucy brushed these systems very quickly without any obstruction. As a result, instead of having any loopholes in Ye Fei's system, she was prevented from checking Ye Fei's system. I noticed some deficiencies and loopholes in my system. Chapter 19. Lucy lives in Bungbu. It's nothing, I just debugged it casually, and there are some loopholes in their chip written from the data panel, which I directly optimized. Ye Fei said somewhat pretendingly, although he didn't mean that, but just expounded the facts. Lucy, would you like me to show you your system? Hearing Ye Fei's words, although Lucy's face was a bit uneasy, she couldn't refuse a hacking system without loopholes. After all, no hacker wants to be counterattacked and burn his brain when he hacks into the system. Okay, then help me take a look. As Lucy spoke, she revealed the small hole next to her neck. Lucy, I don't have a connection cable, so why don't you use your connection cable to connect with me? Hearing Ye Fei's words, Lucy also unambiguously pulled out the cable from her palm and connected it with Ye Fei. It's just that before Lucy changed the forward input to reverse, Ye Fei was already checking her system. Well, here and here, huh? This place is amazing, and there's actually a small backdoor left by network surveillance. In Ye Fei's eyes, the data flowed rapidly, and within a few minutes, Ye Fei refreshed Lucy's system and modified the data by the way. Okay, Lucy, you check your data. After Ye Fei patched up all the system loopholes for Lucy, she disconnected. And Lucy has begun to doubt her life now. Because of the connection, in Lucy's eyes, Ye Fei entering her system is just like entering her own home, and is looking for loopholes while modifying loopholes during the modification process. She even found a back door left by network surveillance that she didn't notice at all. It's good that this thing is not connected. If it is discovered during the hacking stage and then anti-hacking, the other party can directly overload her brain. No need, Ye Fei. Lucy's failure to check does not mean that she fully trusts Ye Fei, but because of the connection. Ye Fei's operation. She knows that except for pulling out the back door of network monitoring, Ye Fei has been working outside her system from beginning to end. There is no chance to insert loopholes. Ye Fei connects her to write the program, as if she is writing it herself. Naturally, I know that the system Ye Fei writes is completely different from his own system. Ye Fei even designed a system that fits her usage habits according to Lucy's previous habit of debugging the system. Ye Fei, you really haven't done any hacking-related work before? To be honest, Lucy really couldn't hold back anymore. If Ye Fei simply copied her own system to Lucy, Lucy wouldn't be so shocked. After all, it is acceptable to set up a system according to her own habits. What makes Lucy unacceptable is that Ye Fei fills in the loopholes while customizing a system that meets her operating habits according to her previous system habits. Not to mention the top mercenary hackers in Night City. Even supervisor-level tasks in network surveillance are impossible. No, today was the first time I went to write and modify the system. Ye Fei's tone was casual and ordinary, as simple as going to buy a bottle of drink and opening the bottle cap. Ye Fei, what kind of hacking system are you two tinkering with over there? What's the use of it? Jack looked at Ye Fei and Lucy from the side, spoke a few words in succession, and then started to connect again, which was also a bit confused. Hey, damn, why can't I keep using my hands? Immediately, Jack felt that his palm was raised uncontrollably and pinched his nose. That's how it's done. After Jack's hand returned to normal, Ye Fei said, I'll go. Ye Fei never tried his own brother for the first time. Jack said with lingering fear, the feeling that his limbs don't listen to him is really terrible. Come on, I'm just giving a brief demonstration. If I think about it, your brain is already a mess. Ye Fei said jokingly. Lucy has nothing else to say now. Anyway, she really has never seen such a hacker. Half of the time, their hackers can at most short-circuit other people's prosthetic bodies. The operation of directly manipulating other people's prosthetic bodies like Ye Fei is simply a fantasy. Ye Fei, how did you manage to manipulate someone else's prosthetic body? I don't know how to tell. Anyway, I can control his operating system all the way. Ye Fei really couldn't explain that feeling. Anyway, he just used his thinking to break through all the way, and then he was able to control the prosthetic body. However, this kind of operation, Ye Fei, can't be operated by multiple people. After all, the amount of calculation is still very large. It is still very difficult to rely on his undeveloped superbrain at this stage. If we let him bask in the sun for one more month, maybe Ye Fei can realize multi-line operation and multi-person prosthesis. At this stage, all the energy of the sun that Ye Fei absorbs is given priority to Ye Fei's body, and the brain can only divide it to a fraction. Although the hacker flow in the game is very cool. With a large number of small soldiers in black and black, Ye Fei prefers the feeling of punching to the flesh. After all, Superman's battles are won by crushing, and the installation of this hacking system is just Ye Fei's whim, and it doesn't have much meaning. After all, even if the network is infected, it will take time to crack the program of the prosthetic body. It is estimated that even Ye Fei's speed in solving those people may not be comparable. Chapter 20. The Whirlpool Gang. Ye Fei and the others continued to wait for more than 10 minutes, and then received a message from Victor. "V, how are you feeling now? Is there anything uncomfortable?" Although Victor tried his best to use painless anesthesia to replace the prosthetic body, he did not rule out some cases of rejection of the prosthetic body. "Well, I don't feel anything unusual." "Okay, then you can try to scan it with the prosthetic eye of Calusi I installed." After Victor finished speaking, V began to scan the surroundings. Kongtao Computer, General Electronic Products. Victor, the prosthetic doctor. As long as the objects scanned by V will basically display basic information. "I'll go." "Victor, you are really amazing." It was the first time to use this convenient prosthetic body, V, and couldn't help but praise Victor. "Hee hee, it's good that you can get used to it." Victor's voice still makes people feel very comfortable, unhurried. "Dr. Victor, your technique is so good. I can't even see any traces after installing the subcutaneous armor." V raised his arm and turned around to look at himself, but there was not even a trace of transformation. "Hee hee, if I don't reform you well, wouldn't I be sorry for Jack's trust in bringing you here?" "That's what I said, but to be honest, there are basically no prosthetic doctors who have painless transformation techniques and hide the appearance of the transformation. If these other prosthetic doctors don't charge a few €1,000 more, it is impossible, and there are not many doctors in Night City who have this kind of technology. If you meet a guy like Brother Finger, it will be good if you don't get dizzy and sell your valuables." For example, the anime David that Ye Fei had watched before was completely reinvented. "V, have you remodeled? You don't have any marks on your body." Ye Fei walked up to V's side and looked up and down, basically no difference from before. "Poor favor, please. Victor is one of the best prosthetic doctors in Night City, and there are probably few in the Arasaka Tower who can compare to him," Jack said confidently. "Don't flatter me, Jack. I won't charge you less if you want to modify the prosthetic body later." Victor sat on the chair and said modestly, wiping his sweat, "V, now that you're ready, let's go to Whole Foods and talk to the boss of the Maelstrom Gang." Ye Fei and the others chose to take the public light rail, while Jack chose to ride his little arch motorcycle worth €25 million. "Hey, Ye Fei, V, and Lucy." "Oh yes, Lucy, how do we get in now?" After Jack finished speaking, Ye Fei disappeared in the same place and reappeared in less than 20 seconds. After seeing it, we should only be able to break through from the front. When Ye Fei said that, he had already sent the terrain around the factory to Jack and the others. In addition to the main entrance is the underground passage. Ye Fei didn't want to be in the backstage of those machines. Who knew if these remodelers from the Whirlpool Gang had cleaned those places? "Jack, V, you enter through the warehouse door below. Lucy, you support Jack and V remotely outside. I will go to their main entrance and have fun with them." Ye Fei briefly talked about his plan, and they started to act without any objection. "Hey, who are you? Don't you know the territory of our Maelstrom Gang here?" When Ye Fei walked to the door, he ran into a guy with prosthetic eyes all over his head who looked very disgusting. "Who am I?" "I'm Yi." After Ye Fei finished speaking, he raised the guy with one hand and smashed it towards the rolling door of the Whirlpool Gang. Boom! All of a sudden, a big hole was smashed into the door of the Whirlpool Gang. "Who? who doesn't have a good eye and dares to make trouble in the territory of our Whirlpool gang. Let me see which smoothie dares to act wild here. The little brother of the Whirlpool gang, who was playing card in the factory, immediately went into a state of alert when he saw a big hole and his door was smashed. Ye Fei walked into the processing factory and saw the younger brothers of the Whirlpool gang inside, and immediately felt a little nauseous. There are those who transform the legs, those who transform the whole head, and those who make a big hole in the chest and transform them into machines. I really don't know what taste these guys have. Where's your boss? Let him hand him over. Ye Fei's arrogant appearance immediately enraged the younger brothers of the Whirlpool gang who were present. How old are you? How dare an unreformed little BD be so arrogant? In an instant, all the younger brothers of the Whirlpool gang raised their guns and started shooting wildly. For a while, the bullets kept flying in the factory, and the bullets hit the ground and walls, and a large cloud of dust was stirred up. Stop! One of the guys with the mohawk hair that looked like the boss ordered. Humph, this is the fate of offending our Whirlpool gang. Haha, I don't believe anyone can survive with this kind of firepower. And Ye Fei was standing on the ceiling beam and sneered. Then a large data panel appeared in front of him. Well, it's all the prosthetic body control data of these prosthetic body transformation maniacs of the Uzumaki gang. Then, I'll have fun with you. Ye Fei showed a little evil, evil smile. Chapter 21: The Happiness of Hackers. After Ye Fei glanced around, he saw a person standing at the end of the Whirlpool gang, holding a small pistol. An operation panel appeared in front of him and directly hacked into the person's prosthetic body. Originally, the little brother of the Maelstrom gang was celebrating with other people for killing a guy who didn't know how to live or die, but he didn't notice that his hand was pointing a gun at a person beside him. Boom! After a gunshot, a member of the Maelstrom gang fell to the ground. What are you doing, Colin? Seeing the brother lying motionless on the ground, the other members of the Maelstrom gang were stunned and then cursed at Colin, who shot. You've taken too much FG medicine, haven't you? Ricky. But while these Whirlpool boys were still cursing, Colin raised his pistols and fired wildly. Boom, boom, boom. Several consecutive gunshots were fired at another boy from the Whirlpool gang who was not far from Colin. FK, kill this guy. I guess he's already suffering from cyberpsychosis. The little leader of the Maelstrom gang raised his gun and shot at Colin, who was still in a daze. The members of the Whirlpool gang are also unequivocal. Although they're all keen to transform themselves, they also know that the reformers have experienced cyber mental illness. So they now treat Colin as a cyber lunatic who has already suffered from cyberpsychosis. When Colin was still in a daze, countless bullets had passed through his body, and he was shot dead without even having enough time to explain. FK, what a FG bad luck. Clyde, the little boss, looked at the four people who had lost their vitality on the ground and spat and cursed. Butcher, move Colin's corpses outside. Casually commanding a little brother beside him, Clyde walked towards a place where Ye Fei was just standing and being shot by them. He had an ominous premonition. But Booker, arm next to him, suddenly ejected a team of rusty mantis knives, slashing towards Clyde. Clyde, behind you. A younger brother of the Maelstrom gang reminded that Clyde himself was in a state of mental tension, and upon hearing this warning, he immediately threw himself to the ground. After rolling twice, Clyde raised his head with an ugly face and looked at Butcher, who had been hacked into the ground with a mantis knife. You're also suffering from cyberpsychosis, aren't you? No, Clyde, my hands don't work now. As soon as Butcher finished speaking, the mantis knife in his arm swung at Clyde again. Seeing the messy Whirlpool gang below, Ye Fei was delighted. He didn't expect the hacking system installed on a whim today to be so interesting. After a while of fighting, Clyde finally felt something was wrong. He has killed 9 of his subordinates so far, all because their boss kidnapped a rich son and transferred elites from various Whirlpool gang factories. Although it can't be said to be a high-level combat power, it can be regarded as relatively capable of fighting among the minions. As a result, all of a sudden, the prosthetic bodies went crazy and attacked, as if they had collectively suffered from cyberpsychosis. Clyde looked around and finally found Ye Fei smiling happily on the beams of their factory. Got you. Clyde picked up his kinetic revolver and aimed it at Ye Fei. Then Clyde was about to pull the trigger. Ye Fei turned to look at him as if sensing something. Then he opened his mouth to say something, and the pistol in Clyde's hand turned around, aiming at his own head. No! Clyde gritted his teeth, but he had already pulled the trigger. Snapped! In an instant, the red liquid mixed with some black and white mixture flowed on the ground. Seeing this scene, the chaotic little brothers of the Whirlpool gang went into a complete riot, and they all wanted to escape from this space one after another. It seems that there are ghosts who can control them in this small factory, making their people kill each other. Now even their little leader has committed suicide, and these little brothers of the Maelstrom gang have never blamed this chaos on cyberpsychosis. Ye Fei, who was just discovered, hid in a more hidden corner to manipulate all this. After a while, a wall of the factory suddenly exploded. A guy wearing a half-baked exoskeleton armor rushed into the factory building. Boys, kill these two guys who dare to invade our Swirl gang territory. Because of the dust scattered in the small space after smashing through the wall before his eyes, Lake didn't see the little brother who had all fallen to the ground for the first time, so he still gave orders. Today is the end of your 2 days. Lake raised his head and was about to speak harshly when he saw a group of Uzumaki gang boys who all fell to the ground. It's impossible. Who did it? Lake, who was forced back to this factory by V and Jack, suddenly fell from heaven to hell. This is his last straw, and now he is being taken over by someone. V and Jack, who were chasing and killing Lake, also came from the wall that Lake crashed through and saw the scene in front of them. I'll go. Ye Fei, is this guy so fierce? Chapter 22, Exoskeleton Armor. The perspective returns to V and Jack. V, do you think Ye Fei can handle so many reformers from the Maelstrom gang? Jack asked hesitantly, although he believes in Ye Fei's strength. What Ye Fei has to face is not a single cyber lunatic, but the Vortex gang who has an absolute superiority in numbers. Each of these guys is a perverted transformation fanatic, and most of them want the prosthetic doctor to modify their appearance as much as possible. These perverts of the Maelstrom gang are different. They just like prosthetic bodies with exaggerated appearance. The more they look like normal people, the happier they are. This also brings about the powerful combat ability of those prosthetic bodies, and the firepower of the guns in their hands is not comparable to those street gangsters who are doing small things. After all, Ye Fei is still a body of flesh and blood. If he is hit by a bullet, he will probably be seriously injured. Malice word, damn. We shouldn't let Ye Fei face so many Maelstrom boys alone. Jack, what Ye Fei asked us to do is to find that damn son. Let's complete the mission first and then help him. The faster we complete the task, the faster we can go to support Ye Fei. Although V is also worried about Ye Fei, but now Ye Fei is the leader of the team, and V, who was a homeless person before, knows that no matter what he does, he can't hinder the leader's arrangement. Since Ye Fei arranged for her and Jack to find someone, it must be someone who has his own grasp to drag the people of the Whirlpool gang. Lucy, there are 3 Maelstrom guards in front of us. See if there is any ambush. V hides around the corner and secretly observes a small room ahead of them. Besides the 3 men, there are 3 mines and an automatic machine gun. At this time, Lucy has already hacked into the monitoring and security system of the Whole Foods factory through a computer connected to the mainframe in the Maelstrom gang before V. I'll go put an automatic machine gun in this inconspicuous place. The rich man must be here. Jack complained when he heard the information given by Lucy. Don't worry, I've already hacked into 3 landmines, and now they are our helpers. Although the machine gun didn't hack into the core system, it's no problem for him to be scrapped. Hacking these gadgets is now much easier for Lucy because of the new hacking system that Ye Fei has commissioned. Good job, Lucy. V didn't hesitate when he heard the news. He picked up the pistol in his hand and shot a boy of the Uzumaki gang who was standing guard. FK, this place is invaded. Go tell Boss Lake. One of the younger brothers saw that the person next to him had been headshot and immediately fell behind the bunker and shouted to the Whirlpool near the door to help the younger brother. The little boy ran to the door when he heard the order. Unexpectedly, an accident happened when passing by the mines I installed. Boom! After the loud noise, Only one arm remained in place. FK, isn't this the mine we planted? How could it blow up our people? What happened? Bo Lake yelled as he heard the explosion outside the room and opened the door. Boss, our side has been invaded. I don't know how many people there are. The mine seemed to be controlled by them. Damn it, these bastards. Bo Lake cursed. Brat, your dad is not honest. How dare you find someone to mess with me? Bo Lake scolded the rich man who was tied to a chair and stripped naked. Boom, boom. Just as Lake was about to run away with the cash cow, 2 gunshots came from outside the door. Then the door behind him that had already been locked by his information suddenly opened. It was Lucy who hacked into the security system and gave V and Jack permission to open the door. Oncoming bullets from V and Jack. Put that guy down. Jack saw the stripped naked people around Bo Lake and knew that this was their goal this time. V and Jack stopped shooting at the same time. After all, their mission this time was to save people. Get out of here. Bo Lake cursed angrily, then picked up a remote control and pressed it fiercely, and then dragged Sally Saxon, the mission objective, to escape to the door behind him. Run. There is a communication bomb in this room. I can't control it. Lucy's warning voice came, and V and Jack chased in the direction of Bo Lake. The moment they ran out of the room, Lucy quickly closed the door remotely. Boom. A huge explosion blasted the door open at once. It is conceivable that if Lucy did not close the door control in time, even if V and Jack were not killed on the spot, they would probably lose half of their skin. Thanks, Lucy. Chica, sister, you are amazing. The voices of V and Jack sounded at the same time, which made Lucy, who was not far from the Whole Foods processing plant, smile slightly. It's a small matter. You feel like chasing Lake. I saw from the surveillance that he seems to have entered a warehouse curry. I will send you the map right now. As soon as Lucy finished speaking, a general route appeared in front of V and Jack. V and Jack also went straight to the room not far from them, without any hesitation. Baby, now I can use you. Blake looked excitedly at the guy he paid a lot of money for and said, it was a battle-scarred exoskeleton. Chapter 23, Kill the Boss of the Vortex Gang. After speaking, Blake quickly put on the exoskeleton armor he bought from a military company. Maybe it was used in a certain battle, but the appearance of this exoskeleton armor is all traces left by the battle. Some places that should have weapons are also missing, and there should be some weapons that have not been released on the market. It's just that, even so, Lake spent 50,000 euros to buy this armor, which is almost a month's food expenses for hundreds of Vortex gangs. In the Cyberpunk world, those high-tech synthetic foods are very cheap, and you have to buy other weapons by yourself. As soon as Bo Lake puts on the armor, he sees V and Jack rushing to the warehouse. You bastards, I'll let you taste the power of my big baby. After speaking, the heavy machine gun in Bo Lake's hand began to shoot wildly. Effica, mala suerte, effica. Where did this guy get this thing? Hurry up and hide. Jack also occasionally saw the combat robot of the NCPD when the terrorist mobile team on the street was performing official duties, but it was just a robot, and it was completely different from the armor on Bo Lake. V, don't worry. I'm hacking into his system right now. Under Lake's ferocious firepower, V and Jack were relieved to hear Lucy's words. Come on, come on, come on. Let you taste my strength. If you dare to mess with our whirlpool to help you, you will be beaten into a sieve. Blake saw that Shindu was a little crazy at this time, and the side effects of the exoskeleton armor were greater than those of the uprising body, although the side effects of this set of exoskeleton armor were not as strong as those of the prosthetic King Kong used by David in the anime. But that's not something Bo Lake, a guy who doesn't have time for inhibitors, can handle. As Bo Lake was getting close to Jack's position, a burst of electricity started to run through his armor. Click, click, FK. No matter how stupid Bo Lake is at this time, he knows that V and the others must have a hacker helping them. He looked up and knocked down the surveillance cameras in the warehouse. If you want to say why the armor of military technology is so easy to hack, it is because the anti-hacking chip in their armor has been removed by them. V, he knocked out the monitor, but I've downloaded a virus into his armor, so it will be more difficult for him to behave. Thanks, Lucy. Blake felt as if his limbs had been poured with cement. After V and Jack received Lucy's news at this time, They also began to fight guerrilla warfare, relying on the bunker in the warehouse, and began to shoot at Lake continuously. Lake can only barely hold off the attacks of V and Jack now. Lake looked at the wall, and he forced the exoskeleton into the wall. Boom! I'll go. Ye Fei, this guy's so fierce. Jack looked at the whirlpools all over the floor and shouted in surprise to help the younger brother. A hole. Lake's only life-saving straw was broken at this time, and the whole person fell in a madness, and the younger brothers who fell here were all elite thugs in their various fields. Without these Maelstrom gang's territory, at least half of it would be lost. Lake just raised a machine gun in his hand to shoot, and suddenly the feeling of being hacked and inconvenient to move came again. You treat me like a dead person? Ye Fei broke into the exoskeleton armor program the moment he saw Lake. Now, the exoskeleton armor on Lake can do nothing but serve as a shackle. What did you do? Why can't I move now? Now Lake is completely restrained in place. Except for his head, which can move, other hands and feet are firmly fixed by the exoskeleton armor. If it wasn't for the hydraulic system of the exoskeleton armor to support him with this kind of weight, he wouldn't be able to move this thing at all. Jack, go and bring out the person our client wants. Ye Fei jumped off the beam and stepped on the body of a boy from the Whirlpool gang. Looking at the guy in front of him, whose face had been changed to only have a big mechanical eye, Ye Fei felt sick. Jack ran back to the warehouse, and Curry moved out the son who had passed out. Young master is different. Jack scanned the bodies of some of their goods with his cross-optics prosthetic eye and found that he was covered with some high-end goods. It's a pity that they're all everyday versions, not suitable for fighters like him. But Jack immediately scanned the bodies of these Vortex Gang boys who fell on the ground. I'll go. These guys' weapons are all good stuff. The weapons and equipment of military technology all over the floor and the prosthetic bodies of these Vortex Gang boys. Although these are not worth a lot of money in the game. But in reality, collecting all the weapons can also be sold for a good price. Especially for the armor on Lake. There are plenty of middlemen who can afford it. Search all these guys' weapons and equipment. Jack, you should know who you can sell them to, right? Hey, I don't know anything else, but I know a lot of people. Don't worry, everything here can be sold at a good price, especially that big guy. To be honest, although the appearance of the exoskeleton armor is full of bullet marks, it does not affect his secondary sales at all. To be honest, if it wasn't for Ye Fei and Lucy who just reinstalled the hacking system, this thing would definitely be a big killer in a frontal confrontation. Hearing Jack and Ye Fei talk about the things of their Maelstrom gang as their own, Lake roared angrily. You guys, the Maelstrom gang will not let you bastards go. Boom. Too much nonsense. When Ye Fei heard Lake's words, he didn't bother to say anything to him. So he raised his hand and shot him to see God. Maybe to meet Satan? It doesn't matter anymore. Chapter 24, another large account, V. You should not be injured. Ye Fei walked to V's side and asked with concern. Although V had just installed Tier 3 subcutaneous armor on Victor's side, it didn't mean he wanted to see V get hurt. I'm not hurt. Lucy hacked into the Maelstrom gang system and broke through all the traps. V shook his head to indicate that he was not injured, but they probably have other good stuff in Curry. V took Ye Fei into the warehouse of the Maelstrom gang. After scanning around, V only saw a box containing some prosthetic plugins. However, since Ye Fei does not need prosthetics, these prosthetic plugins are a pile of scrap iron for him. I can only give V, Lucy, and Jack their favorite plugins, and sell the rest for money. Well, apart from the employer's commission, the income from selling those weapons and equipment and these prosthetic body plugins is probably another terrible figure. Walking outside with the box, Lucy and Jack, who had packed the weapons and detachable prosthetic body, were already waiting there. What do you say? Has this exoskeleton armor been contacted to a buyer? I got in touch. They are members of the 6th Street Gang. They're on their way here. They have also packed all the weapons and equipment, and the price has been negotiated. Ye Fei nodded. Jack's work efficiency was still very good, and then he put the box full of prosthetic plugins on the table. There are prosthetic body plugins here, Lucy and Jack. You two can choose some that you can use. Lucy and Jack heard Ye Fei's words, walked to the box, and took a look. Damn it, we can make a lot of money this time. Looking at the box full of prosthetic body plugins, he picked out the prosthetic body plugins with metal plating, knuckle physical damage, and a fighting rage with 3 blue shells. I'll just take these. There is no prosthesis plugin suitable for me. Unlike Jack, who picked his favorite prosthetic body plugin, Lucy didn't see a prosthetic body plugin that was beneficial to her hacking activities. That's right. After all, out of 100 people from the Maelstrom gang, there can't be 2 hackers, and the prosthetic body plugins must be bought for prosthetic body plugins that are useful for combat. About an hour later, a man wearing a cowboy hat and dressed like a cowboy walked into the Whole Foods factory, saw the Maelstrom gang boys lying on the ground, and the lifeless cloth lake standing in the middle of the exoskeleton armor. He couldn't help swallowing. Even a veteran like him who had participated in the war couldn't help but be shocked by the scene in front of him. You belong to the 6th Street gang, Stephen, right? Here, this is the exoskeleton armor you want to buy, and these weapons, so let someone come in and take them away. Jack's words brought Stephen back from the shock to reality, and he went to the exoskeleton armor to check it. There was nothing wrong with it except for a little more bullet holes. As for those firearms, he only needs to scan them with his prosthetic eyes to know whether they are good or bad. Okay, I've checked all these. The price you negotiated with the boss is 40,000 euros for the exoskeleton armor. I'll give you 5,000 euros for these dozens of better quality rifles. After Stephen finished speaking, he was about to transfer money to Jack. No, Ye Fei is our boss. Just transfer it to him. Jack waved his finger and pointed to Ye Fei beside him and said. Stephen frowned. After all, Jack, a burly man with a thick face, was more like the guy who could solve the Whirlpool gang. Although Ye Fei is not the kind of thin and slender, but because of his handsome appearance, he looks a little harmless to humans and animals. But this has nothing to do with Stephen, and he doesn't care who the money is transferred to. Seeing the 45,000 euros already in the account, Ye Fei nodded. Then Stephen called the younger brother who came with him to throw down the cloth lake on the exoskeleton armor and remove the exoskeleton armor and weapons. From the shocked eyes of these 6th Street gang boys, it is not difficult to see that Ye Fei and the others will definitely become popular because of this battle of the Maelstrom gang, and they will become a hot mercenary team. It took less than half an hour for Ye Fei and the others to leave. A few figures parked the car outside the Whole Foods processing plant. Man, are you sure those perverts from the Maelstrom gang will bring that rich boy here? Dorio said with some doubts. If you don't come to their lair, is it going to a high-end apartment? Man said confidently. It doesn't matter what. Anyway, I just want to shoot now. Rebecca said while sitting in the back seat of the car, stroking the rifle in her hand. Rebecca is waiting for you to have a chance to shoot. Kiwi Eye, let's go in and negotiate with the Maelstrom gang, and you will hack into their security system outside. Okay. When Man and the others entered the Whole Foods processing plant with their own weapons in their hands, they were immediately taken aback by the hellish scene inside. Damn it, why are these guys all dead? And this, Bo Lake, the boss of the Maelstrom gang, is also dead? Man looked at the people of the Maelstrom gang on the ground who had already lost their vitality and knew that they were late this time. FK. Damn, it's a waste of time. Man, the security system of the Whole Foods processing plant seems to have been destroyed in a mess. I haven't even cracked it and basically hacked in all the way. Kiwi Eye, who was outside, didn't know what was going on in the Whole Foods processing factory, but just reported the abnormal situation she found. Everyone at Whole Foods is dead. We're late this time. Chapter 25, the Ritz barman, said to Ki Wei, who was waiting outside, to hack into the system with an ugly expression. What? Someone is faster than us. Man, ask Ki Wei to check the monitoring of the Whole Foods factory. There should be a video left. Dorio suggested. No, there's no need. Even if we now know who made the first move, it's useless. I think they've already left with them. Man scanned the body of the little brother of the Vortex gang on the ground and found that he had been dead for nearly 3 hours, and he could walk back to Haywood for a job in 3 hours. Well, Jack, you did a good job this time. I have notified the employer, and I will pay you now. Beside a certain stadium of the Haywood Valentino gang, Father Sebastian looked at Ye Fei and the others with great satisfaction and said, Hey, Father, this time we were able to successfully rescue this kid only because of Ye Fei. He is the leader of our team. Jack scratched his head and said, He is not a person who likes to take credit for himself. After all, The biggest trouble for the Maelstrom gang must be the large number of thugs. Oh, is that so? It seems that Jack has found a good enough leader. The priest knew that Jack was not a liar. Although he was a little glib, he could still be trusted in these matters. Hi, my name is Sebastian. You can call me Priest. Since Jack has joined your team, I will contact you in the future. This is my contact information. After the priest finished speaking, his eyes lit up, and then Ye Fei got the priest's contact information and the reward this time before his eyes. No problem. Just come to us if you have any entrustment in the future. Ye Fei nodded. The relationship between the priest and the street boy V in the game is not bad. It can be regarded as a year-end friendship, but it is a pity that V here is a homeless person. Otherwise, they should have had a better start. Coffee shop. This time we got paid a total of 85,000 euros, and each person was 21,250 euros. Ye Fei was about to transfer the money when he saw Lucy reach out her hand to signal him to stop. What's the matter? What's wrong with Lucy? No, I just want to say, Ye Fei, you deduct the money for buying the chip from me first and send it to me. Lucy shook her head and said, she is a person who distinguishes between public and private. Although she knows that Ye Fei may not pursue the money, she is not the kind of greedy person. Okay, then deduct the 5,000 euros for the chip and transfer 16,250 euros to you, Lucy. Ye Fei did not refuse Lucy's request. Although he didn't care about the 5,000 euros, he also understood Lucy's heart. I just don't want to owe too much to other people. Thank you, Ye Fei. Lucy's eyes were a little excited. After all, if she wanted to steal chips and sell them, she didn't know how long it would take to earn the 16,000 euros. Small, we are a team. Ye Fei waved his hand. He didn't really care about this little money, although he doesn't have much money now. But he is Superman. Will he be short of money in the future? In the worst case, go and have a friendly exchange with Saburo Arida and borrow him 100 million points to spend. Hey, the money is so cool. Ye Fei, should we go and have a little fun? Jack was full of excitement when he received the reward. In the past 2 days since he met Ye Fei, he has earned nearly 100,000 euros. This was something that Jack would never have imagined before. You must know that 100 euros in Night City is already a month or even 2 months of food expenses for many people. And now he has more than 60,000 euros left besides the 25,000 euros spent on buying his favorite motorcycle. This can be regarded as a relatively wealthy mercenary in Night City. The first step to getting money is, of course, to go chic. When Ye Fei heard that Jack said that he would take him to play, Ye Fei's eyes drifted a little, and then he glanced at V beside him. Ye Fei, just go and play with Jack, Lucy, and I just went shopping in the mall. V naturally knew what Ye Fei was thinking. He gave him a blank look, but still agreed with Ye Fei to go chic. Sure enough, women in any world will have the desire to shop. Even people in Cyberpunk carry. Thinking of this, Ye Fei followed Jack away. Ritz Bar. Hey Jack, it's been a long time since you came to the Ritz Bar to drink with our sisters. Who is this original handsome guy next to you? Why haven't I seen him? At the door, a pink-haired lady holding a baseball bat and piercing 2 ball heads saw Jack, first glanced at Jack provocatively, and then saw Ye Fei beside him. Chica, sister, don't I want to make some money to come drink with you? This is my partner Ye Fei. He is very skilled. Jack smiled and put his hand on the girl's shoulder and said, FKU, go inside and drink, little handsome guy. Next time you come here by yourself, sister will treat you well. The pink-haired lady hit Jack's chest with a baseball bat, and then looked up and down Ye Fei with somewhat ambiguous eyes, and said, you must know that in this world where it is normal for everyone to install prostheses, there are very few men like Ye Fei who look like original products and look handsome. Ye Fei also took a look at this young lady who is often seen in the game. Well, unlike the image in the game where the skin is rough and has a lot of freckles, the young lady here has no freckles on her face, but is very fair and smooth. Except for the heavy makeup on her face, Ye Fei doesn't like it very much. She's already a beautiful woman. Chapter 26, Meet a Friend, okay. Ye Fei replied with a smile. Then it's settled. I wish you a happy time. The woman said with charming eyes. To be honest, although she has met a lot of men, it is really rare for a man like Ye Fei with a good face. The woman walked to the door and stepped out of the way. I will find you for a drink later. Jack turned around and said something, then took Ye Fei into the Ritz bar, muttering while walking, "Hi, Ye Fei. Look at what I said. A handsome man is just a fool. For example, me and you, did you see that chick just now? Seeing you and me, I wish I could pull you into the private room and have a big fight. If you want to, you may call her to her. Maybe she will agree with my sister." Ahem, Jack. You seem to be talking too much. Let's go to the bar. Seeing Jack chattering endlessly, Ye Fei coughed twice and looked at Jack speechlessly and said, "Hey, I know. So what's the matter? You're Chinese, right? I understand that you Chinese are a bit reserved and shy, but you can't find a few chicks in Night City." Jack had a look of seeing through everything. In his opinion, although Chinese people are quite reserved, what do you want when you come in Night City? Yes, do as the Romans do. Ye Fei rested his forehead with his hands. He was not the type to meet and fall in love with each other. He preferred that kind of spiritual communication. Of course, he wouldn't refuse if he could come to the sports directly, but he is not blessed to accept those beauties who are too obviously modified. He prefers people like V, Lucy, Judy, Pannon. Ahem, that's a bit much. In short, he prefers beauties who look more natural. When Ye Fei entered the Ritz bar, he felt that it was obviously different from the outside, and the deafening music stimulated people's mood. The men and women in the bar were twisting their bodies wantonly, and even ordered a bottle of champagne on the spot, shaking it wildly and spraying it directly on the dance floor of the bar. The people who were splashed were not angry, but opened their mouths to catch the champagne that was being sprayed. In the bar, there are also some serious-looking security guards in formal attire watching the bar to prevent people from making trouble in the bar or conducting transactions that they do not allow. Jack took Ye Fei to a booth not far from the bar counter, where the view was good enough to see those hot, scantily clad girls twisting their bodies. The Ritz bar is also a place where many people who hang out in Night City like to hang out. There are delicious drinks that can make people forget their troubles, music that isolates all troubles from the outside world, and there are many programs that can mobilize human hormones. The main thing is that there are people in charge of security here. Many bars do not have formal security facilities, but the Ritz bar does, so it is also a very good place to relax. V. Cheers to our cooperation and brotherhood. Jack held 2 bottles of beer and handed them to Ye Fei, and held them up high after Ye Fei got the beer. Respect friendship. After Ye Fei finished speaking, he drank a bottle of beer in one gulp, and Jack also drank all the beer in his hand. "Welcome. You have really begun to become a part of this Night City." Jack finished his beer and said loudly, "Since I entered this Night City, I have been..." Ye Fei responded with a smile. "I feel that our team will be able to do some great things that will shock the whole world in the future," Jack said confidently. Ye Fei smiled when he heard Jack's words, and then raised his hand to signal the waiter to continue serving the wine. When the waiter put the wine on Ye Fei's table, Ye Fei handed a bottle of beer to Jack. "It's better to continue drinking after talking so much." "Hey, are you underestimating me? My nickname is Little Whirlwind Drinking. I'm afraid of drinking." When Jack heard Ye Fei's words, he immediately refused to accept it. Since he was 10 years old, he has been secretly drinking in his mother's bar, and Jack has never been afraid of drinking with anyone. So the two began to compete in drinking capacity. Half an hour later, Ye Fei stood at the toilet door and glanced at the time. "Well, Jack's been in there throwing up for like 5 minutes. No, Ye Fei, you are really a monster. I can't even blush even after I shouted." Ye Fei had just checked the time when he saw Jack walking out, tremblingly holding on to the doorknob of the toilet, still mumbling something. Ye Fei rolled his eyes at him. "Nonsense, you can get drunk with Superman's body? That kind of metabolic system beer has been broken down by Ye Fei's body system as soon as it is drunk. Not awesome anymore? Little Whirlwind." Hearing Ye Fei's words, Jack waved his hands again and again. No, I'm not little Xianfeng. You're my brother. You're my own brother." "Okay, then what are you going to say now?" Jack rubbed his eyes hard and washed his face with water after hearing Ye Fei's words. "I'll take you to meet a friend. Maybe you'll be interested in what she has there." "Okay, let me see what interests me." Hearing Jack's words, Ye Fei knew that Judy's wife, whom Ye Fei liked very much in the game, was about to appear, so she agreed immediately. Chapter 27. The best Mutuo editor in Night City. Then follow me. Hey, the things here are guaranteed to make you happy. Jack led Ye Fei around and down the stairs, and after a while, he reached the basement floor. This is different from the bar above. There are only a few large servers in the entire basement and electronic equipment piled up all over the room. All the videos played on several computers. On the left-hand side of the door is a workbench full of Xiaoming equipment. Sitting on the workbench is a beautiful woman. Jack, didn't I already give you a few good quality Mutwo last time? Why did you get tired of it after a few days? A joking voice came. Ahem, I'm not here to ask for Xiaoming this time. I'll bring a friend to meet you. Jack heard Judy say that he asked about Xiaoming, coughed twice, pointed at Ye Fei, and said, Jack, I should have said not to bring anyone here casually. Judy said with some dissatisfaction, then took off the Xiaoming device he was carrying and looked at Jack. Judy, don't say that. There are many ways to know more friends. You know me. Since I can bring him to you, I think he is a trustworthy person. Oh well, let's not take this as an example. Judy patted, and when he saw Ye Fei beside Jack, he couldn't help but froze for a moment. Haven't your friend even installed a prosthesis? Judy looked up and down at Ye Fei curiously. To be honest, she hadn't seen a person who had never installed a prosthetic body so handsome for a long time. Let me introduce you. He is Ye Fei. We recently partnered to form a mercenary team. He's my captain. Ye Fei, the person in front of you is Judy, the best Super Dream director in Night City. Jack introduced to Judy and Ye Fei. Ye Fei, currently partnering with Jack as a mercenary. Well, Judy Alvarez, you can call me Judy, but can you be a mercenary if you haven't modified a prosthetic body? Judy asked. Judy, you got a good shot this time. Let me tell you, you'll hear Ye Fei's name in other people's mouths tomorrow. He made me a big deal today. Judy raised his eyebrows when he heard Jack's words, and then jokingly said, Oh, the big one? Where did you go to smuggle it, or to steal the car of that unlucky rich man? Aren't you underestimating people? We want to take over the home of the Whirlpool Gang today. Jack said proudly. Oh, what's the matter? The Whirlpool Gang is not a small gang, and you can actually take over their lair. Judy has no doubts about Jack's words. After all, such words cannot be taken back, and there is no such thing as bragging. And as far as Judy knew Jack didn't have the guts to lie like that. But Jack, you came here just to say this? If that's the case, I think you can leave first. I still have a few Mutwo to edit. Judy obviously ordered the eviction. We are here just for your Xiaoming. Ye Fei lived outside the border before and has never encountered any particularly good Xiaoming, so I brought him here to experience it. Okay, then what kind of Mutwo do you want? Naturally, Judy would not refuse when a business came to her door. After all, who would have trouble with money? I heard that there's a game on your side that allows VR and Mutwo to play together, so I want that kind of game. Jack said, Ye Fei is actually no stranger to Mutwo. However, Xiaoming is also a very important prop throughout the entire Cyberpunk 2077 plot. It is also the largest entertainment method in Night City. It could be said that even a beggar on the roadside who lives in Night City will have a Super Dream device. However, this is the first time Ye Fei has heard of the VR technology that Jack talked about linking Mutwo to play games. After all, Xiaoming in the game is generally a tool for people to recall and find clues. Maybe it is because the role of Xiaoming's diversity is not shown in the game. Ye Fei, what kind of Mutwo games do you like? I have all Mutwo games on the market here. If you don't know what to play, I can recommend a few Mutwo games for you. Judy looked at Ye Fei and asked, half of the Xiaoming games on the market are all kinds of shooting or some Xiaoming games produced by some small black factories of knife fighting games. But the quality of those games is too poor, so Judy has never bought their products. Judy, don't underestimate Ye Fei. He can kill everyone without any damage under the guns of more than a dozen people from the Maelstrom gang. Jack said this, but he was flipping through Judy's new Mutwo to see if there was any type he liked. Well, I have a good semi-finished Mutwo game here. The background is almost an organization. They have invited excellent mercenaries from various planets to fight on a planet. There's also a setting when fighting in the area. It is called a safe zone. If you stay outside the safe zone, you will be burned. 60 mercenaries will be released at once. Bye. Judy took out a chip and said, this is a Xiaoming game sent by a person from a game company, saying that they want Judy to perfect this Xiaoming game for them. and they will give her dividends afterwards. Although Judy likes the story background of this game, she will not help a little-known small company improve the Mutwo game without seeing the benefits. She has more jobs than she can count. Time to help this small company make Mutwo games. But let me say it first, because it is a semi-finished product and there is no server. So the characters in it are robots, except you. The robots inside are also divided into difficulties, ranging from beginners to terminators. I have played hunting difficulty, and you will fall down as soon as you meet each other. How about it? Is this exciting enough? Judy has played this game before, and the Terminator robot in it is really scary. So he also wants to see how capable Ye Fei is, which Jack said is good. Chapter 28 Mutwo game. Ye Fei was familiar with the gameplay of this game, and Ye Fei's DNA was activated when Judy mentioned the Defender. Isn't this his favorite FPS game, Apex, in his previous life? I didn't expect to see the shadow of this game in this cyberpunk world. Let me try it. As Ye Fei said that, she couldn't wait to lie down on the chair and get ready. Although he was not a hunter in his previous life, he was able to become a master at any rate.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.